18, and are you lean conservative or Republican?
I'm 19. I'm a Republican and conservative, but I do not support Trump though.
All right, cool. Um, do you think any of the things I have on the board are bad things?
I would say I don't think that they're necessarily bad things, but the thing that I have to bring up is like that's the problem with the problem. The thing that I find problematic with this stuff is just having the funding for everything.
Hmm.
America. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure America, on average, spends $6 trillion a year already, without any of this stuff. And I think, I mean, I
Hey,
think
JJ,
that
can you give me a
let's
second,
see.
JJ? Can you give me a second?
Okay, gotcha.
Because they say that they were not hearing you. Give me a second.
You have to hop off and hop back on or something.
No, no, you don't have to hop back on. I know exactly what's going on. Give me a second, all right?
Okay.
Hey, apologies for that, y'all. Apologies for that, y'all. I know why I can't hear JJ. Give me 1 second.
All right. Take your time.
Hmm. Just give me one moment. Still a lot of growing pains with streaming and everything like that. I'm new to this as well. All
It's all
right,
good.
all right. Apologies for that, y'all. Y'all should be
Hello.
able to hear him now. Y'all can hear him now, right?
Yep. 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 Hello.
All right, I could hear him. Just making sure that they can hear you.
Yeah. So,
All
yep.
right, now they hear you. All right, cool. All right, so go ahead. Now you were saying that you were concerned about like the cost of everything, of how we're gonna be able to afford to do everything, correct?
You guys think about just universal health care for every single person that goes to the hospital.
Hmm.
I think I'm like just people that if you let's say you have a baby, like out of pocket, you have to pay $33,000 on average, like just for all the ultrasounds, all the stuff you have to lead up to it. Imagine like how many babies are born per year. 33,000 times how many babies are born per year in America. That's a lot of money, and like so because every single operation, every chemo treatment, every every single thing, it costs a lot of money, and it's like where are we getting funding from? The same thing with free college. I think it costs like around maybe $4,000 or $8,000 a year for just community college without room and board.
Hmm.
Like for every single student that goes to college every single year, how like we have to pay for that.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And like as I said, I'm not. If it were to happen, it would be a great thing. But it's like, is it realistic? Because we're already spending around 6 trillion a year already without all this extra stuff. And I just what they can do is they have to fund all these things. They have to raise the taxes or take the money from somewhere else. So I mean, I know I said I just want to see what you think about that. What I just, I mean, I think they're good things. Like if they existed, like I would love free college, right? I love universal healthcare, but it's like I just don't see it being realistic. You know what I'm saying?
Right, gotcha. All right, so the thing is why I think that we can do this is because we've actually have done it before. Um, Back when, like before the 60s, during the civil rights movement, college was very low cost because the government just funded like the majority of it. Right. The reason why the government stopped funding colleges is because Ronald Reagan didn't like the Black Panthers going to Stanford University, so therefore he took away the funding. It was literally all because of racism. You see what I'm saying? So and then all the
Damn.
other states around the country started doing the same thing. So the only reason why governments don't fund colleges like they used to anymore is literally just because of racism. You see what I'm saying? So like we actually can't afford to do it again because we've had before. The reason why it costs so much now is because a lot of the funding is privatized, and not only that, the government does back those loans. So now that encourages these private loan operators to just rack up the loans, and for these colleges to kind of compete against each other in order to have better facilities for more people to go to their college and get more of those loans and get more funding. You feel me? If we would just cut out the middleman with the whole loan scheme and have the government direct most of it, like how we used to do, the cost of colleges will go down. It's the same thing with healthcare. We're actually already paying for universal healthcare. We just can't access it until we're 65. You know what I mean? Like all of us, the moment you get a job, you're paying into Medicare. If you just open up Medicare for everybody, that's universal health care right there automatically. So we're already paying for it. We're just not getting it.
Yeah, I said these are very good ideas. Let's see this like let's talk about guaranteed housing.
Mm-hmm.
How much isn't houses cost like at least like 200K or 100K? It's like how many everyone needs a house, right? Or needs an apartment. It's like let's say like you guaranteed housing, like what does that mean? I'm not like it's a good thing. That's a very good thing. I think it would be very nice for everyone to have a house.
Mhm.
But as I said, the same problem is like, where is this money just coming from? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
the cost to actually end homelessness is 20 billion a year, right? If we can spend 20 billion dollars like right now this year, and homelessness won't exist in America. So it's like we can actually do it. The money is out there somewhere. You feel me? Like we do have a bloated military budget. There are tax loopholes. We do know that the 1% like offshore a lot of their taxes. We do know a lot of them live off like bank loans and don't actually pay any on their capital gains. Like so, there's strategies out there in order to get the $20 billion in order to get rid of like homelessness. And if we need to do that every year, I'll be fine with that, because what's been shown is that when homelessness is largely due to issues like addiction and depression and things like that, and mental health, and not only that, being homeless is a stressful situation, so it makes those things worse. So if we were to actually go in and actually like fix this problem, like guarantee housing to people and eliminate homelessness automatically, it'll make all those issues decrease as well, from our mental health issues to crime and even drug addiction, because that's where a lot of like homeless have issues in, like their addiction and their mental health issues. If all that makes sense, you see what I'm saying? Now that doesn't mean that if we guarantee housing now, and a person who just requested, go ahead and request again. I'm just doing 10 minutes each person. So that doesn't mean that like if we do guaranteed housing, like I live in a townhouse right now, right? That doesn't mean that my mortgage is now free. It doesn't mean, hey, appreciate the subscription. It doesn't mean that my mortgage is now free. It doesn't mean that your apartment is going to be free. It means that if you ever fall into a situation where you're going to be homeless, you can go to an agency and they can get you into a home instead of you being out in the street.
Yeah, that's like a very good thing too. I think that's actually probably a good thing. You said 20. Where'd you get the 20 billion number from?
That was a hmm, damn. You got me there. I remember hearing that number from, like, I think it's from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, on how much it would cost to fix homelessness. Like it will be about 20 billion a year.
Okay, I was just wondering. And then so I feel like, okay, so let's just get to the one I want to talk about for a second, is like reparations. Like,
Hmm.
so would the government be paying reparations too? And who would it go to? Would it go to all black people, or just people who were slaves in the past, like who had slavery like ancestors?
It will go to the descendants of slavery, and also people who are basically, yeah, African Americans, not the American descendants of slavery, and not just for slavery, but for things like Jim Crow and redlining, issues that like economically and socially affected African Americans.
Yep. And who would be paying for this one? Would all white people pay for it?
That'll be the government, because the government was complicit in doing this to African Americans, just like how we did with the who was their names, with the Japanese. Japanese got reparations back in the 80s.
Yep. And then like how much money would go to each person?
They will have to study that. I'm not sure. The amount of reparations is like a huge amount. Like the last number I heard was close to like $40 trillion. I'm pretty sure that we're not gonna be able to do that. But we would be able to figure out a way, if not direct cash payments, which a lot of people actually do support, myself as well. If not that, then like some sort of investment into the community to repair the economic and social damage that was done to African Americans.
All right. Well, yeah, I just asked all the questions I needed to ask though, but I'll let other people talk though. It was good talking to you though.
Hey, no, I appreciate that, man. You have a good night.
There you see.
All right, y'all. WJJ in the chat. I appreciate any good conversation. All right, Dawkins, how's it going?
What's going on, sir? How are you doing?
I'm all right. Are you over 18? And you did say that you disagree with everything on the board, correct?
Um, Maybe everything except for number 4. I'd be interested in to hear you about that one because the prisons are pretty messed up.
Yeah. So, I appreciate y'all joining the team. The prison industry abolition that I'm talking about is like the industry built around putting people in prison for profit, because essentially prisons right now is essentially slave labor. So I'm against that. We should be focusing more on rehabilitating people than putting them in there because to punish them. Because right now we just focus on punishment and not actually building people to be part of society.
I got you. I'm with you on that. I mean, I think it should be a mixture of both. I don't think it should just be only rehab. I think if you do something terrible, I mean, you should be punished for it to deter future behavior.
Mhm.
Um, but okay, I could see you on that one. Yep.
All right, cool. So what did you disagree with?
Oh man. Let me just pick one. Let's see. Guaranteed. You kind of already covered guaranteed housing. How about the? Let's talk about the reparations.
Mhm.
That one I don't see how you get. Um, how do you implement that long term? Because if you give it to the generation right now, you're essentially saying, I mean, this generation, well, they're going to have children, and then
Mhm.
the next generation, and then the next generation, and are you just going to pay reparations um, indefinitely?
Yeah, and that's the part that needs to get figured out. Like I don't think they have it completely figured out yet, right? So what reparations advocates talk about today is that it should go to the gener like if reparations were to pass today, it should go to not only the generation that got redlined, but like their children as well, right? Because the people who got redlined are still alive. So, and not only that, their children are grown and they have kids themselves. So it should go to like a certain block, a certain age group. I think that's what they're thinking about. However, I'm a millennial, right? So millennials are alive right now. If we pass away and the next generation comes through and then reparations passes then it'll go to them. Yeah, you see what I mean? It's not gonna be perpetual like millennials are like 80 years old and then they get it and then the next generation they get it as well. It won't be perpetual. It will pass just like how we did with Japanese reparations. It first went to the people who were affected, and if they passed away, it went to their descendants.
I mean, it would be for slavery, though, right? It wouldn't be for Jim Crow laws. It would be. I mean, you have to go back to the 1800s to figure all this out, and then you'd have to prove it with documentation if it goes that far back, to prove you're a descendant of that person. And then my other question is, who's paying it? I mean, personally, I don't think it's fair to hold people today accountable if they weren't part of it.
Hmm.
There's no slave owners today and so it's like, well, why am I being punished for something that somebody that looks like me did something in the past? I mean, I'm not for that. So
Hmm. It would be for Jim Crow and redlining and black codes and the war on drugs and slavery, everything that affected African Americans socially, economically, and politically. That all that should be repaired.
I mean, do you think that Jewish Americans should get anything then from Germans?
They already did.
I mean, even the ones today,
Yeah, they can go to Israel right now.
they can go to Israel, but you're talking about like cash payments in their bank account, right?
I think that already happened.
uh, you're saying Jewish Americans are getting cash payments in their account from Germans?
I don't think they're getting no. I don't think they're getting cash payments in their account, but reparation they did get reparations. Jewish Americans did get reparations.
They did,
Hmm.
but they're descendants of World War II,
Hmm.
and even the ones today. I mean, they're not getting reparations.
Like the ones that are alive today, yeah, because it was already given to them after World War II. It just never happened for
Right,
African Americans, so that's why we should do it now.
right, right. But they're descendants of those people, though. I mean, I would say they're a lot closer than that than current African Americans are to slavery, though.
Say that again.
They're also descendants of those who
Hmm.
got it, though, as well. So,
Yeah,
why, you know,
descendants got it as well.
right? But now we have a new generation of
Hmm.
descendants. I mean, why don't they get it? They're a descendant. What's the difference between slavery and the Holocaust? Why don't we just keep doing it?
Because number one, slavery was worse, and number two, like because that community was repaired, there will be no need to do it again. Like I'm like like reparations is about repairing what will happen to a community. If that community gets repaired, there will be no need to do it again.
How do you judge that slavery was worse than the Holocaust?
Its length and amount of people who passed away from it.
But that's your view. What if somebody who was in the Holocaust said, "Well, how do you know? I went through it."
I'm not the thing is that's not my view. The people who got eliminated during slavery and the length of time of slavery is way longer than the Holocaust.
So something makes something worse if as long as it goes on longer. It's not based on how many people died. Because
Yeah,
I would argue that the Holocaust is equally as bad, if not more. I mean, they were completely their whole race um, was going to be exterminated.
hmm And what do you think happened during yeah like you like slave yeah like slavery? It was basically a cultural genocide. Like you understand that?
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying slavery, but I'm just saying like how do you judge that, right? Because I mean,
All
or
right,
how do
sure.
you compare the two? I mean, they're both terrible.
All right, sure. Slavery lasted 400 years. The transatlantic slave trade lasted 400 years. The trans-Saharan slave trade probably lasted about 2 to 300 years. The amount of people who got traded in slavery were around 12 million people. So, and those are the 12 million who actually made it. The others who actually didn't make it is probably incalculable. We have no idea how many died. When it comes to the effects, essentially, a Jewish person right now has an unbroken line of culture of thousands of years from language to celebrations, everything. I have no idea where my ancestors are from. Zero clue. You see what I'm saying? And that cultural connection was cut off. We had to build entirely new cultural connections when we came over to this side of the planet. We had to build entirely new languages when we came to this side of the planet. I have no idea who my ancestors were or what country they are from, and I have no connection to those people over there. You see what I'm saying? Like I could have cousins right now that are over in Africa right now, and I have no idea who they are or the cultural connection. All that was cut off. Like that's a
But, I mean,
huge
I could be a
travesty.
Jewish person, and I could say, hey, my whole family was wiped out during World War II. I have no recollection. They stole all of our things. Everybody, you know, who's to say that their experience is not as bad as yours?
Their experience was
It's
bad,
in.
but the way
I
I'm
mean, what I'm
judging
getting
is
at is it's opinion. It's opinion. It's not a matter of whose was worse or not. I mean, we could say facts, but from a Jewish person's perspective, they're going to say, well, we had it worse. Well, you're going to say, well, we had it worse because of what you said. So, I mean, I
yeah,
just don't see
sure.
how that justifies getting money in your account, though.
Yeah, sure. They and anyone can say that they had it worse, but what justifies reparations is not the opinion of who had it worse. What justifies reparations is what exactly happened to African Americans after slavery, and we know what happened to them after slavery. They were like deliberately kept poor. So why should we fix that?
How are the, well, okay. Um, well, how are you going to fix? But again, the problem is there's no slave owners anymore. They're all gone. So what you have now is you have people who are working who are just about everybody's not for that anymore. So how?
Right,
I
but
mean, how are you going to hold them to justice with
right.
their?
So what I'm saying is that reparations won't only be about slavery; it'll be about the effects of slavery, and we know what the effects of slavery are, and they still affect African Americans today.
Right, but if I'm a working person and I had nothing to do with it, how is that fair or just to hold me accountable for something that someone else did
We're
who
holding the
happens
government
to
and
live there?
society accountable.
Right, but it's a different government though too.
So
Like there were different people in charge, and
there are different people in charge when the Germans gave Jewish people reparations too. So
yeah, but when you say the government, what you're really saying is the taxpayers, because the government doesn't make money. They take money from the taxpayers, the people that are currently paying taxes. So what it's really going to do is hurt the people that are paying taxes. That's you and I. It's not going to hurt people back then. They don't pay anymore.
Right, they're all gone. But like, it's not about hurting people. It's about repairing a community.
But it is going to hurt. But it is going to hurt someone. That's the thing. That's
No,
what I'm
it's not.
getting at. Absolutely, it will.
How?
If I'm paying money and if I'm paying money and it's going to someone else for something that I didn't do, I,
You mean
how am I
like how?
responsible?
You mean like how taxes already work?
No, that's not how they work. You don't justify something that happened in the past and make the current generation pay for it.
We do that all the time.
Like what? Give me an example.
That's what Medicaid is. Literally, all
That,
social services is that.
that's not the same thing. That's a false analogy. That's not the same as reparations for slavery. Medicaid means that's medical care for low income people. That's not
Hmm.
reparations.
Okay, so you understand that reparations is to repair and heal a community that the government damaged, right? Are you saying that
Yeah, but
hold on, are you saying that when if the government does something, they shouldn't be responsible for fixing it?
yeah, but you're saying the government, but really what you're saying is you're holding the current taxpayers accountable because the government doesn't make any money. The government just takes money. So you're
Irrelevant.
taking it out of the current taxpayers' pockets.
Irrelevant. The government damaged the black
It is
community.
relevant.
If the government damaged the black community, why shouldn't they repair it? That doesn't answer my question.
Yes, but how are you going to repair it? You have to take from someone else who didn't do anything.
Yeah, the government has to pony up.
What do you mean they have to pony up? They have to take from people that didn't do anything.
No, they don't have to take from anyone that didn't do anything. We fund the government. All right, so when the Japanese got reparations, did people get punished for that? Did people get damaged for that? When the Japanese got reparations?
Yeah, they did.
All right,
They
so
did, and it wasn't their
but we
fault.
still did it because it was the right thing to do, correct?
In your opinion, it's the right thing.
How is it not the right thing for people who gets damaged by a society and by a government
You weren't
for them to not
because
be
you weren't a
repaired?
slave. You weren't a slave.
Again, where the people who got do you know who Rudy Bridges is?
No.
Okay, so there's the problem. There's a lack of information going on here. Rudy Bridges was the first
No,
was the
it's a
first
lack
girl.
of it's a
Hold
lack of
on, listen,
opinion.
listen, listen. Rudy Bridges was the first person to integrate an elementary school. You know that famous picture of federal agents accompanying a little girl to school? Her?
No, I don't know that.
Seriously?
Maybe I've seen it. Maybe I've seen it. I don't
No,
know. I
you've
don't know.
seen it. Hold on, did you learn about Jim Crow in school?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so you've seen the picture of Rudy Bridges, the little black girl who was being accompanied by federal agents to a school. You've seen that picture before. It's a very famous picture. It's one of the most famous pictures in history.
It's if
You've
I
seen that
have, it's
before,
been
right?
years. But go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
My point is, I was gonna ask you, how old is she?
I have no idea.
She's 67.
Okay.
So what you're talking about was not long ago.
But I'm not
this,
talking
what I'm,
about
what I'm talking
I'm talking
about,
about for slavery.
but I'm not like as I said for the third time. Reparations are not only for slavery.
But that's what you want, though. I'm saying
That's not what I
I'm
said. That's
saying
not what I
that
said at all. I said that reparations would be for not just for slavery, but for Jim
you want
Crow,
them for
black
that.
coats.
But if
Hold on,
reparations,
listen to my position because you're not listening. Listen to my actual position because you're not listening. I didn't say slavery. I said not only slavery, but Jim Crow, redlining, and black codes and the war on drugs, all of which were targeted to African Americans. All of them.
yeah, but you can't compare slavery to those other laws. It's completely different.
Those are the effects of slavery, like I already said. Because I'm starting to feel like
Yeah,
you're
but
not
you're
listening
trying,
to me,
yeah,
bro.
but you're trying to connect the two because you're closer in generation, so you can get people paid.
I'm not trying to connect the two. Redlining is literally an effect of slavery because why did redlining happen?
the effective slavery, but it's not slavery.
I didn't say it was, and again I said that reparations would be for more than just slavery. It will be about the effects of
Right.
slavery as well. Like I'm starting to feel like you're not listening, bro.
No, I am listening. I just disagree.
Okay, so you disagree that discrimination like Jim Crow and redlining are not an effect of slavery?
No, I didn't say it was an effect, but it's not the same thing. So if you're
I didn't
getting
say it's the same
reparations,
thing. I said it's an effect of slavery, so reparations should not only be for slavery, but its effects. That's what I
yeah,
said.
reparations should is the disagreement. I don't think that they should be. I don't think they should be for anybody. I don't think we should have them at all because
Why not? Why shouldn't we repair a community that was
again,
damaged by the?
hey, I'm
Well,
all for
hold on.
repairing communities.
Why? Okay, so if we should repair the community and that that was damaged by this government and still continues to be, why shouldn't we fix that?
It was hundreds of years ago. Nobody today is responsible. That's the thing.
You realize that the damage is still
You're
happening,
saying
right?
the government. You're saying the government, but again, the government doesn't generate any money. They take it through taxes. So you're taking
Irrelevant.
from people that had nothing to do with it.
That is irrelevant.
It's not relevant. You're literally taking it out of someone. You're saying, hey, even though you're not responsible for this, I'm going to take your tax dollars and I'm going to give it to this person because they're a descendant of something that happened to just it was a
Bruh,
terrible
ain't,
thing, but
bruh, ain't nobody gonna be knocking on your door to
it's not
swipe.
free.
Hold on, bro.
It's not free.
Hold on, bro.
is
Hold
the-
on, hold on.
is the
Listen,
whole
listen, listen,
thing.
listen, listen to
You're
what I'm
acting
saying
like
to you.
it's free. and
Listen to
nobody's
what
gonna
I'm
be
saying to
harmed.
you, Dawkins. Listen to what I'm saying to you.
No,
Ain't
you're not
nobody,
listening to me. You're acting
ain't
like
nobody, ain't nobody gonna be knocking on your door to swipe your Visa card for the monthly reparations bill. That's not going to happen.
It's a fact.
That's not gonna
Yeah,
happen, bro.
well,
But
yeah, but I pay taxes every year, and if they use the money for that, then they are using the money.
What are you talking about? No one's going to your
If
house.
you pay taxes,
No
and you use that
no
money
one's
for
gonna be going to your
reparations,
house and say, I'm the
that's
monthly
not what I'm
reparations
saying.
man.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, so what are you talking about then?
You're doing this red herring argument where you're making it about something else. The taxpayers have to pay for this, though, is what I'm saying collectively.
Yeah, we pay for everything. I'm paying for a school district that I don't even go to.
Exactly. So how can you hold taxpayers responsible for something when they weren't there? They didn't do it.
The government is being held responsible.
The government is the taxpayers, though. That's the whole point.
Yeah, and my whole point was that it was
The
the
government
government and
doesn't
the
make money.
it was the government and the taxpayers who damaged African Americans, so they should pay for it.
Current taxpayers
Yes.
damage African Americans?
Yes. Do you understand
Really?
that redlining still happens?
So I damaged African Americans through law. And you
I'm
want
not
to take
talking about
mine?
you personally. I'm talking about this society.
You're talking about taxpayers, though. I'm a
Yeah.
taxpayer.
All of our society does. Yes.
This is why this is never going to happen.
You know,
because it's such
you know why? Do we all still contribute to taxes to the war on drugs?
that has nothing to do with
Yeah, it
with what
does.
we're talking
Yeah, it does.
about. No, it
Yeah,
doesn't.
it does. Because who did the war on drugs target?
This is not reparations for slavery, though. The war on drugs. You're
The
trying
war
to
on-
get money for something that
again.
I agree with you on the war on drugs.
Exactly.
But that
Okay, so
doesn't
the
mean
war on
you're
drugs,
entitled to
the war on drugs was to target African Americans, right? That's what the Nixon aide said.
Supposedly, yes. Okay, I'll even
Okay,
grant you that.
so-
I don't fully
So,
agree.
so we're paying taxes to target people who look like me. So why shouldn't we fix that?
Currently,
Yeah, the war on drugs is still going on.
I totally disagree. I don't think there's.
We
laws
we,
out
we,
there.
we don't have the war on drugs anymore, really.
I didn't say we did, but that doesn't entitle you to taxpayer money going in your bank account.
Okay, so that doesn't entitle me to taxpayer money going to my bank account. How should we fix the African American community since the government damaged it?
The government can't. In all reality, the government can't. It has to come from within.
Oh yeah. So you're one of those then.
I am one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you? You could have all the money in the world. How are you going to fix a community? The
Do
community.
you
has to do it.
understand what reparations would look like?
Are you talking about cash payments going into people's bank accounts?
That and something else.
Okay, so there you go. So we disagree.
Okay, but do you know what reparations will actually look like? You realize that there
Tell
are
me your
several.
vision.
You realize there are several ideas on what reparations would be and how it'll look like, correct?
Yeah, I have
All
heard
right.
of that.
So
Yeah.
do you think it should just be programs?
Only programs?
Yeah.
I think investing into more communities would be okay.
So money.
Yes, but not cash payments going into bank accounts.
When when African Americans were considered second class citizens, did wage theft happen?
Probably, but you're not entitled
Should
to
they
other
get those
people's
wages
money.
back?
No. From who?
Oh,
How
so
are
they
you going to
shouldn't
pay
get
it
those
back?
wages back. You real
No, I would not be for
you
that. No.
you realize that when African Americans were working with white Americans, something that still happens today, they were paid less for the same job.
Something that still happens today, that's illegal if
Yeah.
it's happening.
I know it's
You need to
illegal,
go
but
to
it's
an
still
attorney if
happening.
it's
I know
happening.
it's illegal, but it's still happening. Should we fix
Well,
that?
then you need to go to an attorney
Should we
because it's
fix
against
that?
the law. How are you going to fix it?
The government can compel them to pay what they owed.
From who? Who's going to pay it?
The businesses that did the thing.
The businesses that did the thing.
Yeah, the
You
businesses.
realize how
The
ridiculous
businesses.
that sounds. Even if they're still open.
Hold on, Dawkins. The businesses and the insurance companies who economically affected African Americans can be compelled to pay what they stole from them.
You would have to go to court for that, and you'd have to prove it. It doesn't mean you're
We know it already happened,
That
bro.
would be
There's
a
plenty of
business.
research on this.
okay. If you're talking about a business, then that's a little bit different. That's not taxpayers because a business would be responsible. So, but you would have to go to court for that. That's
And
not.
who let them
that's
get
not
away with it? Who
taxpayers
legally
stealing their money to
who
money.
legally let them
Putting
get
it
away
into
with it and
law.
gave them tax breaks for doing it?
What's that?
Who let them get away with it and gave them tax breaks for doing it?
Who let them get away with it?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
the
know the whole history.
government.
Okay, but again, how you're repairing this whole thing is you're taking money from people who have nothing. They have no bearing in this whole thing.
Yeah, they do.
No, they
As I already told you,
the average
Rudy, as I
taxpayer
already
has
told
nothing-
you, Rudy
nothing to do with what you're
Bridges,
talking about.
Rudy Bridges is still alive. That means that the people who damaged her are, guess what? Still alive.
So take from them then. Go, take them to
Nah,
court. It's not
all of
taxpayers'
society,
job.
all of society should pay because all of society was involved.
Not all of society.
You
was
realize that
involved.
redlining. You realize
know
that
that's not
redlining. You
true.
realize that
You're saying
redlining.
we all
You
got
realize that
together.
redlining was also in California, right?
You're saying all of tax.
You do know that
all of
redlining was
society-
also
Hold on
in
a second.
California,
All
right?
of society,
Yes,
all of society, is responsible.
all of society.
Everybody who
Because
goes
where
to
did
work and has
where
no
did
clue what you're
redlining
talking
happen?
about,
Where did
we're all
redlining happen?
involved.
Where did redlining happen?
Redlining comes from the government, though. It's not the average taxpayer.
Where did it happen?
That's irrelevant where
Yeah,
it
it is.
happened.
Yeah, it is
No,
relevant.
it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not
because you
relevant.
said, hold on, wait. Didn't you just said that all of society wasn't involved?
It's the government. It's
Hold
not
on.
the taxpayer.
Didn't you just say that all of society wasn't involved? You said that, right?
Yes.
All right. And I asked you where did redlining happen? Redlining happened everywhere in all of society. Everywhere had
fault is
redlining.
it? Whose fault is it?
It's everyone's fault because
How
everyone
is
was
it
fine.
everybody's fault
It's-
if everybody's not
it was
involved?
it was everyone's fault because the reason why the suburbs was created was to get away from black people. That's the reason why the suburbs were created. That's the reason why redlining actually
I'll tell
happened.
you what, man. You've got theories. You've
I don't
got
have theory. I can
theories
bring this
that
up.
Really
You want me to prove
that
it?
Put
You want me to
money
prove it?
into your
You want me to
pocket
prove
and
it?
not other people's.
Hold on, you want me to prove it? You
At
want me to prove
other
it?
people's expense.
Hold on,
that
you want me
have
to prove it?
nothing, that have nothing to do with it.
You want me to prove it?
This is why this is never going to get passed because
Do you want me to prove it?
you're playing
Dawkins,
the blame
Dawkins,
game on
stop,
people
stop,
that
Dawkins,
have nothing
stop,
to do
stop,
with it.
stop. Do
I'm
you want
just
me to
letting
prove?
you know the
Do you
truth,
want me to
man.
prove?
You don't want to hear the
Docs, do you want me to
truth.
prove? Do you want me to prove that suburbs were created to get away from black people? Do you want me to prove that?
I don't disagree with you, but
Okay,
the whole
then.
thing is
So
you're holding someone
if our
accountable.
society was created to segregate black people and keep them down, why shouldn't society lift them up? You can unmute yourself now. Hey,
While he's
Juneteenth, how's it
figuring
going?
out how to unmute, hello, I just wanted to introduce myself real quick. Hi.
How you doing, Juneteenth? I know I kind of was going over. I do want you to get in on this because I believe you actually are an African American, so you can speak on it more.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So there were two things that I quickly wanted to say. I hope everybody's doing well. On our point earlier with black codes, I did just want to go ahead and quickly point out after slavery was abolished to disclude, obviously, with the 13th, criminals and mass incarceration, which still happens today. Neither here nor there. It was illegal for people, Americans, to not be employed. And so if they were not employed, if you cannot prove that you were employed, i.e., showing papers, then you would be arrested. And if you're arrested, back to the 13th, you can then legally be enslaved. The 13th Amendment to this day has not been changed. If you are incarcerated, you are legally a governmental slave. Furthermore, I just wanted to quickly point out, as far as housing goes and redlining, I do want to go ahead and point out, while you're looking for redlining, I want to touch on reverse redlining real quick. Reverse redlining, for those of you who may not be as familiar, is the exact opposite of redlining. So the government, when they came in and said, hey, you cannot prevent Black people who are qualified for applying for these loans. And so when people would apply, they would be given extremely predatory loans. And with these predatory loans, they were meant to essentially, for Black people to default on said loans and to lose their homes, which was also catastrophic to the Black community. I'm bringing that up because I believe it wasn't until around the 60s, 70s, it was legal for lenders to allow customers to put in their promissory notes, the thing that makes you pay your mortgage each month. They were allowed to require that Black people not be approved for these notes, for these loans. So you have a situation where, Black people are having to overcome being able to even be in spaces that were deemed white spaces. Then you also have, when they're able to apply for these loans, then they're given loans that with crazy interest rates that they're designed to default on, so that their home could go into foreclosure. And you also have these situations where legally people are being excluded by lenders themselves. So we're not just talking about, one company or two companies. We're talking about the government upholding these racist policies through lenders. And to this day, if you are approved for a loan, let's say you get an FSA loan, and you live in a rural area, you are going to be paying mortgage insurance or USDA insurance for the life of that loan. That means for 30 to 40 years, the government will be profiting off of one of those three things I just mentioned, either redlining, reverse redlining, or now because of the executive order getting with the whole DEI thing and allowing companies to exclude anyone of any color, not being equitable. Now, again, if a company wanted to, if a lender wanted to, they would allow a customer to say that the Black person could not buy a property. So we have all these different systemic levels in mortgage alone that still exist to this day, sir. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, and this was all throughout society, and society agreed with it.
Oh yeah, this is still anywhere in the country. If you get a Fannie Mae loan, a Freddie Mac loan, or an FSA loan, the government is profiting off of your mortgage insurance. They're profiting off of USDA insurance. It's just no way around that. If you have mortgage insurance, the government somehow they're getting their cut. I don't know if Dawkins figured out how to unmute or anything, and I don't want to take up too much space.
No, it's all good. I can invite him to your mute. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Dawkins. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not unmuted. Go ahead.
I'll drop down. Thank you all.
No problem, Juneteenth. I appreciate you being up here. Yeah, so everything that Juneteenth explained is how African Americans were stolen from with for millions of wealth, and that should be repaired. So you're all about repairing the African American community. You just don't think that they should receive checks. Is that it?
You could generalize with that statement, sure. I mean, I'd be okay with some funds going there for sure. I mean, I want everybody to have a good community that they can thrive in, and I don't disagree with a lot of things you guys say. But um, I don't think checks is the way to do it though. I think that's a short term way to do it. And you want something that's more sustainable for the communities.
Yeah,
So for
what's more
everybody's
sus-
community.
what will be sustainable for the community is building wealth, right?
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, but you can't do that through the government. The
Right.
government can't make you wealthy.
They can. That's what they did for white people.
That's a very generalized statement, as if all people are wealthy, or as if all white people are wealthy, and definitely
I didn't say all
all white people are not wealthy.
white people are not wealthy. That is true. But the government made it easier for if you're a white to become wealthy, and they did that with the things like the GI Bill, with the Homestead Act, all of which black veterans and black people were not allowed to take advantage of. The average
Well, I'm pretty sure
they,
black veterans can get the GI Bill.
now they can. They couldn't. They couldn't back before 1970 something.
Okay, but you're saying all of society was for that, and now they're not.
Yeah, they agreed. They were completely fine with it. No one cared.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would say contemporaries today would not be for that. So
Yeah, now we're not for that because like we got past the 70s. Hell, even in the 80s, we still had a racial problem in this country. The racial problem in this country didn't get resolved, or hasn't been resolved, or like literally was still pretty bad into the mid 90s.
I mean, how does it get resolved? At what point? You think it'll ever get resolved? Because I don't think so.
I'm not sure if it could ever get resolved. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, no, I don't think it will. I mean, it'll never get resolved, but that doesn't mean progress hasn't been made.
But yeah, progress has been made. I agree that progress has been made. But one of the things that I think we need to do is to work on repair. And as long as people are against repair, then nothing's gonna get resolved.
I against repair, but I'm definitely not for putting checks in people's bank accounts. I just don't see how that helps them long term. Sure, it'll help them short term, but then once the money runs out, then what?
All right. You know, there's been experiments on this before, right? Like they did an experiment not only in Georgia, but I think in California, where they gave homeless people checks, no questions asked, and they gave single mothers checks, no questions asked, and it was only like $1,000. What they found out that what happened is that those homeless people that were given like $1,000 a month, no questions asked, the majority of them went back to school. The majority of them got jobs again. The majority of them got homes again. For the single mothers, same thing. Went back to school, got jobs, or stay or changed careers in order to stay and take care of their children, to make sure that their children were raised properly. You see what I'm saying? So when giving people usually assume that just giving folks money, they're just gonna squander it. But when we actually study what people do with it, they actually do things that are gonna improve their lives, which is what we see all the time.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I could take that study based on face value. I mean, if you take $1,000 a month, I mean that's great if you want to go to school and everything. If somebody did it, but I I doubt that that's actually what happened. But
I mean, this
I'm not
experiment
saying the
has been
study's
done
not valid,
several
but
times.
I'm not saying your study's not valid, but I don't think putting checks. I mean, people get welfare checks all the time, and their situation doesn't get better. You know, they become dependent on the checks,
Right,
and if they lose them,
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of times it takes all of their motivation to get something better. You know, you're not supposed to be on it your entire life. You're supposed to it's supposed to be a safety net,
Yeah,
and it's not. You're not supposed to live on it forever.
yeah. So like the thing is, with the way that welfare is done in this country is actually not good. I'm actually against the way that welfare is done in this country because like just like how you said, I used to work in social services. I've seen the dependency that it can cause because the moment you go $1 over, you're off the program. So of course that encourages people to not do overtime or get better jobs because they're gonna need their food assistance or their Medicaid. You see what I'm saying? So I understand the way that it causes dependency, which is why we should reform it. If we had a way of, just like I was saying, universal basic income, Now, I don't think that's going to be working for everyone to get universal basic income. There are people, of course, who are disabled that universal basic income would affect them negatively. But if we go more towards that route than the way that we're doing now, it'll be better for our society and not cause dependency. And when it comes to, like I said, hey Sean, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, I'm gonna get to you next. Just give me one more minute with Dawkins. But yeah, so Dawkins, we're basically at the end of the line now. Did you have anything else?
No, man, that was it.
All right,
Appreciate the convo.
no problem. Appreciate you being up. All right. All right, Sean, give me 1 second. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody being here. We have 8,000 likes. Go ahead and let me get to 10K. I appreciate y'all. We got 1,000 people watching. We got Sean on the board next. All right, y'all. If y'all don't see, do y'all see my my goal? I do have a subscription goal. Go ahead and join the cult. Go ahead and join the Volsi code if you'd like to join. It's only $2.99, less of a cost of McChicken. And every month you get to see my handsome face. And I like to keep doing these. All right, so Sean, I appreciate you being up. Are you over 18? And do you lean conservative or Republican?
Conservative or Republican? No, I'm a leftist, and yeah, I'm way over 18. But I just wanted to say that one, California gives out reparations to Black folk here. There's a committee that each case is looked at, studied at, and then the amount is decided amongst themselves. So we've started it here in California, and hopefully it spreads to the rest of the United States. And to answer Dawkins' questions of whether will this ever be resolved, it will be resolved the minute people like him start agreeing with you, us, everybody, the host. That's when it's going to be resolved. But the minute you start seeing him and Han over, or I don't think people giving money, giving checks, that is the problem right there. Why don't we want the best for our fellow citizen? Why don't we want our fellow citizen to be the best person he possibly could be by giving him the aid and the help that they need? I don't understand this. Why do we try to hold each other down and keep each other from coming up like this? It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's people like Dawkins that are doing it. And I don't know if they know that they're doing it or if it's some other agenda, but wake up, folks.
Yeah. All right, Sean, I appreciate you, y'all. W Sean in the chat. Yeah, I have heard about California. That is amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and put up another gift goal, y'all. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna talk to a fire next. But Sean, I appreciate you being up here. W
Yeah.
Sean in the chat.
It's actually pronounced Aaron.
Ha, Aaron. All right, y'all. W for Sean in the chat. Wonderful guy. I appreciate y'all. Love you all. Again, y'all, go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and get a new gift goal started. But, Aaron, how's it going?
Good, man. How you?
I'm all right. Are you over 18, and do you think anything on the board is bad?
I am 47, and I think reparations is about the worst thing that anything could ever happen to this country.
All right, cool.
Or any country
All
that
right.
deserves to pay people back for anything that they did
All right, cool.
against
Can
their
you
will or whatever.
All right, cool. Can you explain why we gave the Japanese reparations and nothing happened to this country?
Did we give the Japanese reparations? Did we give the Chinese reparations for building all the railroads?
Yes, we gave the Japanese reparations for the internment camps.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
that-
if you said
how
that,
much did
hold
that
on.
cost?
If you said that reparations are the worst thing that can happen to this country, how come the country didn't go to shit in 1988 when we gave the Japanese reparations?
Probably because the amount of people that had to get reparations was so minuscule that it made no difference.
Oh, okay, so we should black people should get reparations, but only like a quarter of them.
Well, what about the Irish and the Chinese that built all the railroads?
What about them?
Should they get reparations too?
If they have grievances with America and America economically affected, I'm sure.
Why would anybody have a grievance with America?
All right, so you understand what Jim Crow was, correct?
I think Jim Crow was bullshit, but
Yeah, you're actually were born 1 year after Jim Crow, so you should know.
how do you know what year I was born?
You just said you were for like 45, didn't you, or 51?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that means you were born like like what 1971 or 1970?
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Crow ended in 1969. So you were born 1 year after someone like me can't eat in the diner with someone like you. You were born 1 year after that. Not only were you born 1 year after that, you were born 1 year after a child of mine could get lynched in the street, and no one would punish the people who did it.
So how
You
old
were-
are you?
Hmm?
How old are you?
I was born in the 80s.
Okay, in 80 what?
I was born in the 80s.
In probably like 88 or something like that. So none of this affected you personally at all.
Yeah, it did. You know why?
How?
I grew up in a neighborhood that was redlined.
Where did you grow up then? I grew up in Houston, Texas, and yeah, I grew up in Acres Homes. So
I grew up in Miami, Florida. The first neighborhood I lived in was Little Haiti. The second neighborhood I lived in was North Miami, East Side. Both were redlined.
so you're Hispanic? Are you Hispanic or are you black?
I said Little Haiti.
So are you Haitian?
Yep.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, and America affected us too.
Okay, so do you parlez-vous the français?
Non parle créole.
Oh, well, at least you speak your native language. That's amazing for somebody your age.
Yeah, of course. Like, hey, Haitian parents are big on that, on teaching us. I'm gonna teach my son too. He's doing October. But like, my point is that redlining affected me personally because the neighborhoods I grew up in were the redlined, and the people. And I was lucky enough that my parents were able to get into the medical field that gave them better economic
So
opportunities.
you came from a
which means-
two-parent household.
Yes, I did.
You have a father and a mother, and they're still together.
Yes, they've been together for about 40
Okay,
years.
so you're not from a divided household. You know, I mean, honestly,
course not.
you're, I don't know, man. You're fighting for rights that aren't even yours.
What are you talking about?
You're not even black, dude.
Yeah, I am.
How? You're like Kamala Harris black.
No, I'm not.
You're Haitian.
So
You're Hispanic, dude.
no, I'm not.
Oh
Haitians are
my
Latinos,
God.
not Hispanic.
Oh man, this is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it is. You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, obviously I don't. I didn't grow up in a predominantly Hispanic area of Houston, Texas, one of the most fucking yeah. you're
Hispanic
just
means
that.
Spanish speaking. Haiti is not Spanish speaking. What you're saying
I know
is
they're
fucking
not.
stupid.
Yeah.
You just said I'm not black, I'm Hispanic.
I just said that you're not black is what I
I
said.
am black. What is Haiti
How?
called?
Haitian?
No. Haiti is the first what?
I don't know.
The first black republic. Are you on shrooms, bro?
Maybe.
All right. Appreciate you being up here. All right. So, TBD show or TBH show?
How's it going?
I'm all right. So are you over 18? Yeah, he was on some shrooms. I'm betting. Are you over 18? And do you think anything I have on the board is a bad thing?
Universal healthcare.
Great. All right, let's go ahead and put 15 minutes on the clock. Why is everybody receiving
15 minutes.
healthcare? Yeah. Why is everybody receiving healthcare a bad thing?
$3 trillion a year.
What do you mean?
That's what they say it would cost.
It won't.
And that's what they say.
Who's they?
I mean, you can read. I can pull up multiple sources if you like to. Me to get my laptop out.
Give me 1 second. All right. Actually, yeah, I can see that. You are right. It would cost $3 trillion annually. Mhm.
That's about. That's
Yeah,
about
so-
4 times. It's about 4 times higher than our highest thing, right?
No,
Or 3.5 times.
not really.
I mean, our military budget's like
the United-
800 billion.
The United States spends over 3.2 trillion annually on healthcare already. So we're already spending on it. We're just not getting it.
No, that's what Americans spend. That's not. It's not what we're paying into the tax system. That's not what the government's
No,
spending.
it is. This is for Medicare and Medicaid. You want me to show it to you?
Medicare and Medicaid.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
okay. What is
Spends,
that?
the United States spends over 3.2 trillion annually on healthcare, with about 65% funded by public programs like Medicare and Medicaid. So we're already paying for it. We're just not getting it.
Let me get my laptop because I think that number's too high.
It's not.
I think it is.
It's not.
Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it is. If our highest line item is the defense budget, which is 800 billion, that's the highest line. So even if it was the highest line and we times 2, that's 1.6 trillion. So that's half of what you're saying is being spent. And
Okay, so
that just doesn't make sense.
You want me to show you the source?
I mean, pull it up from fiscal data .treasury.gov.
Give me 1 second.
Hey, bro, while you pull that up, I got a question, man.
Give me a
I'm
second.
sorry.
All right, I'm not
Okay.
sure if you can read that. Can you see that? This is our current healthcare spending. So
Oh,
we're
you're
already
you're just pulling it off of
so
AI.
so
and
we're
that's
already
not-
spending on universal health. Oh, they have a source right here. You want to see the source?
Yeah.
There it is. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. You trust them?
No, I'm gonna pull it up. Actually, it won't take me long.
All right, cool. So we're already spending on universal health care. We're just not getting it. So why should we just not all get it?
Hold on, I already have it up. Hang on. Percentage by GDP. Total spending.
I don't think you you answered my question yet. We're already spending on universal health care. We're just not getting it. So why shouldn't we get it?
Health by dollars.
I'm gonna go ahead and
is-
ask you one more time. We're already spending on universal health care. Why can't we just not get it? Since
Because
we're
your
already
numbers are
spending on
way
it?
off.
They're
Your numbers are way off.
They're not.
I'm looking at it right now. It says Medicare, according to the government website,
Which one?
$433 billion, fiscal data.treasury.gov. Medicare is $443 billion, and health would be 400. So we're spending roughly between the two of them, 800 billion. You're all the way to 3.2. So 800. That's 4 times the expense.
No, I said the United States already spends 3.2 trillion annually. 65%.
No, I'm showing
65%.
This is
65% is funded by Medicare and Medicaid.
So I'm looking at it straight off the government site. It's 800 billion total collective per year is what we're spending as a government for healthcare.
Right. So we're already spending on it. We're just not getting it.
800 billion, bro.
Yeah. So we're already. What is Medicare?
Right. So
what is Medicare?
You're saying
what is Medicare?
it's 443 billion.
That's not what I'm asking you. What actually is it? What's the program?
Universal healthcare, bro.
Yeah, it's for. I mean, yeah, I understand that, but
Yeah,
for certain
exactly.
individuals.
So we're spending on it already, and we're just not getting.
limited
Oh,
to
wait,
some
stop.
individuals.
Listen, we're spending on a universal healthcare program already, and we just can't access it. So what I'm saying is
We're
that
spending
why
on it
not
for a
just
portion
what I'm saying
of
is
the
what I'm saying
country.
what I'm asking you is
Yours is
why
universal.
what I'm
The keyword
asking
is
you
uni-
is what I'm asking you is why then we if we're already paying taxes into Medicare, why not just open it to everyone? What's the problem?
the keyword is the very first word right there, universal.
Yeah, universal.
Yeah,
We
that's
would
not
actually
what we're
save
offering right now.
we're actually save money
That's
if
not
we
what
had
we're
universal.
offering right now.
Yeah, if we
You're
were
saying
if
since
we
we
were to
offer
if we were
healthcare,
to if we
therefore
were
we're
to if
offering
we were
universal
to if
healthcare.
we were to open Medicare for everybody, that would be universal healthcare, wouldn't it? Go and unmute yourself.
Did you just mute me?
Yeah, because you kept on talking over.
Oh, I didn't even know I
So,
was muting. Okay.
yeah, so what I'm saying is that if we were just to open up Medicare to everyone, that would be universal health care right there. How come we just don't do that? We're already paying for it.
We're not paying for universal.
Wait, when I get when the taxes come out my check and it says Medicare, I'm not paying for it?
Oh, yeah, you are.
Okay, so if we open up Medicare for everyone, since we're already paying taxes on it, Well, that would be universal health care. So
Your
why not
check
just
would
do that?
it would come more out of your check. There would be more pulled
So
out of your check.
so
Why?
so
Okay.
what?
So what? Then we'll just have inflation like crazy. But
No,
whatever.
no, we wouldn't.
Yeah, we would. We would be government print. We would be printing money like crazy.
No, we wouldn't.
We're already operating off a $1.7 trillion deficit a year.
So
You want to add another 2 trillion?
the if we would have had universal health care, it would actually decrease the deficit. The Cato Institute
How
found
so?
that.
It costs 2 trillion. It costs
The Cato Institute already found
2.5
that.
trillion more.
Pull up the Cato Institute and what they said about Medicare for all, and I bet you they'll be on my side on this. Go ahead, pull it up. Pull it up.
You pull
They
it
already
up.
said to put the. Hold on, give me a second. How come everybody keeps requesting and dropping out? Like y'all knows I'm going one by one, right? Y'all could just be patient, please. So what inflation is not just not just our taxes going up. That's not inflation.
Our taxes going up when we inflation is a tax. Yeah, it definitely is a tax.
Inflation is not a tax, bro. Inflation
Yeah,
is
it
just
is, bro.
prices of things going up. What are you talking about?
That the government's controlling by the feds of how much inflation they want it to be. Yeah,
Bro,
it's
we
a,
don't
that's
pay
a
an
tax on the
inflationary
American
tax.
people.
Will you listen, bro? We don't pay no inflationary tax, bro. Cut it out.
It's not a tax, quote unquote, but it's definitely an expense on the American people.
Because the prices
There's a
go up.
reason we don't
Inflation
want it
happens
to
all
be
the time.
0%. There's a reason we don't want it at 0%.
Yeah, because
That's why the
prices go up all the
feds
time.
keep-
What do you,
That's why the feds control that to try to keep it where it needs to be.
because prices go up all the time. What are you,
Why
what are you
don't the
talking
feds just have 0%? Why don't they get us to 0%?
What does this have to do with anything? I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Well, I'm saying it is. The government is taxing the American people through the inflation.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
Inflation is something that already happens, bro. We just don't want it to go to go over a certain amount. Inflation is
How do
something
they
that's always
control
gonna happen.
that? Who's they?
They control that through interest rates, like the Fed,
Okay, so why don't they have us at 0?
because they can't control inflation.
Hang on, you just said they could.
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. You said they don't want to have it too high.
I say
so
they
can,
they don't want to have it too high, so they influence it by
oh,
interest
so
rates.
they can control how high it goes.
No, they can't.
You just said they could.
No, they can't. It's always going to go up. The only thing that they can control is how rapidly it goes up. That's it. They can't control how they want how much
Why don't we
goes
keep
up.
it like at 0.1% instead of
Inflation?
9?
You realize inflation talks about prices, not money supply, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the government
So I'm
can't.
saying, why don't they keep us at 0?
I don't know. Ask them. What does that have to do with anything?
Because they're taxing
Why
the
is
people.
hold on? Why is universal health care a bad thing?
I just told you.
No, you didn't.
We don't have the money for it.
Yeah, we do. We're paying for it already.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. We're not.
All right.
Look,
So if
look,
we how
here-
come
here's
how
all-
come
here's
if we
all
were
I'm
to
saying,
if we
bro.
were to if we were to open Medicare to everybody, what would happen? Since we're already paying for it, what would happen?
What would happen if we open Medicare to everybody? Everybody could use it.
Yeah.
And are you saying that we're going to increase our taxing towards it, or we're going to leave it as is?
We could leave it as is already.
Oh, we'd go bankrupt. We'd go bankrupt.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, it would.
How would it? How would it? If we're already paying for
Because
it?
there's only 443 billion going in a year, and if they're saying the healthcare system is going to cost us 3.2 trillion, where's that other money come from?
It could come from taxes.
You just said that we weren't going to increase our taxes.
Okay, fine. Let's increase our taxes. Now what?
Okay, there we go. So now we increase our taxes.
Yeah, sure. Now what?
That's why I don't want to do it.
Because you don't want to increase your taxes.
because-
so
yeah,
you want
there's
to
just-
you want to
that's just
so
one
you want to
thing.
keep
Hang
you
on.
want to keep the
That's just
system
one-
you want to keep the system that we have now that's failing us.
Right. So that's already one thing, and then you want to go down. Let's go down to number 5.
No, no, no,
Now
no,
you
no,
want
no.
free college.
Wait,
Now you
hold
want
on,
free
wait,
college.
hold on, stop.
How much
stop,
more
stop,
taxes do you want?
stop.
How high you
Why?
want our
Hold
taxes to go?
hold on. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. Why, if we were to increase taxes, but everyone gets health care, why is that bad?
Because I don't want to get taxed out of all my monies.
Because you don't want to get taxed.
Yeah, I don't
All right,
want.
but
I don't
if-
want all my.
if-
I don't want all
hold
my
on,
funds
listen,
going towards
listen.
the life that you would like
Listen
to have.
to my question. Listen to my question.
Yeah,
If everyone
go ahead.
is healthier, why is that a bad thing?
Well, being healthier is not a bad thing.
Exactly. So universal
Keep
health care,
keeping
as we've
families.
seen in
Right.
universal health care, you get more access to health, you get more preventative
Right.
care, and the amount that people spend on health, the amount that a country spends on healthcare goes down. Every country that has universal health care spends less per capita than we do, and we don't have it. So why would these things be bad? If we could spend less per capita on healthcare and everyone is healthy, but your taxes go up maybe 2-3%, what's the bad trade off there? Your taxes going up 2-3%? You're gonna pay $20 more on taxes?
2
Really?
to 3% my ass.
You really think the taxes are gonna go up like an astronomical amount, like 15,
Let me
20%?
let's look at what. Hang on. Let me check something real
It
fast.
ain't, bro. It ain't.
Hang on, real fast. Give me 2 seconds. I want to check one thing real fast. Let's get an idea. So our revenue that we brought in last year, total revenue, all of our revenue combined, was 4.92 trillion. Okay, so we just went over it, right? It was 800 billion. It was going to cost us 2.6 trillion dollars more for the healthcare. Now let's add on free college. That gets us to about let's say 3.5. Let's say 3.2. Let's be nice. Let's say 3.2. So 3.2, our total revenue right now is 5. So that is basically an 80% increase in revenue that we need to create.
Yeah, with
And
healthier,
you think that we're going to do
with
that
a
based,
healthier, with a healthier,
and you think we're
with a
going to do that
healthier,
based
with
on
a
3%.
with a healthier and more educated population, that will expand the tax base.
So, and what from where?
What do you mean from where? From the citizens.
I mean, we already had 3.4% in unemployment.
You
We're-
realize this is not how government expenditures work, right? Like, it's not like our personal piggy banks. That's not how that works. Like, budget gets earmarked. Like they did. Like, it's not how we work, where we get paid on a paycheck every 2 weeks. That's not how government funding works. You understand that, right?
They get it from W-2. The majority of their funds from the government come from W-2, like your federal withholdings. That's the majority of the revenue that they bring in.
What, income taxes?
So again, yeah, through income tax. That's the number one
so
source
it's,
of revenue.
so it's not the way that how we get a paycheck every 2 weeks. It doesn't work that way.
It's the part that's pulled out of your paycheck every 2 weeks.
Right. Okay.
That's where they get their money.
So right, we all understand that. But what we're saying is that if we
Yeah.
have a healthier, more educated tax base, you realize that the tax base would expand, right?
Expand and what are you saying? Like we're gonna get raises?
Yeah, there'll be more taxes going into the government, especially if we raise taxes. Especially if we raise taxes on the 1%.
Well, yeah, if we raise taxes.
If we raise
but you
taxes,
just said
if we
three-
raise
hang on.
if we raise
So-
taxes on the 1%, hold on, bro. If we raise taxes on the 1%, and then people are healthier, and then people are more educated, that means more people working and more people working harder. That will expand the tax base.
How
won't it?
low of an unemployment can we go to? I mean, you
How
just think
low
about
an
it for a
unemployment
second.
can we go through?
Right.
We could
so
probably
we're
go
at
to,
3.4 historical low.
yeah, we're at
How
3.4
low do you
right
think
now.
we can go?
That's probably the lowest. We're at 3.4 right now, but how much people are underemployed? We have to look at
No,
that
we're
rate
not.
as well.
We're not at 3. We're not at 3.4 right now. We're like at 4.2 or something like that. But the historic low is 3.4. I'm saying,
Okay,
how low
that's-
do you think we can go?
If we could probably go to like 3.2, maybe 3%, because that's
3
basically
point-
full. That's probably basically
You
full
think we can go
employment.
to 3%?
At 3%, you're basically at full employment at 3%.
Do you think we're gonna go at 3% with automation starting to take off? That's wild.
With automation, yeah, because
Yeah, that's
because
wild.
we actually don't have a lot of automation.
Automation is starting to increase.
Yeah,
Yes.
automation is starting to
Even-
increase.
even-
I understand that automation.
the
I
Treasury
understand that automation is starting to increase, but it's not going to go
Right.
to every industry the way that we think it is.
It doesn't. It is actually going to go into every industry. If
It's
you
not,
think there's an industry
because
that's
we
I
actually
mean,
don't have
almost.
artificial intelligence. We just have machine learning.
Dude, we have McDonald's operating at full capacity.
That's fucking McDonald's, bro. Your doctor is not
That's
going to get
fucking
AI.
nuts, bro.
Yeah, and
That is
and not only
nuts.
that, not only that, but even in those restaurants, a lot of them go back to having humans because human beings are social creatures. We like to talk to people. So not everything's gonna be automated. Maybe the factories and we don't even have like self-driving cars yet.
There's millions.
We don't even have self-driving
Yet.
cars yet.
You're saying yet.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever have
Yeah,
self.
you're expecting them. Hang on. So you're expecting automation in all these industries, and at the same time,
Mhm.
you think we're going to 3%. You're not
You real
using any
you
like
you
common
real
sense or logic
you
at all.
realize you
You're
realize
just
you
wishing upon
realize
a star.
you realize that society is dynamic, right? Society is dynamic. You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, so society is dynamic. That doesn't mean that just because automation is going to happen in 50 years, we're going to have the same society that we have today.
It's
Things
not.
will be different. Things are going to be different. All right. So so judging like automation taking over a whole bunch of jobs and probably 50. I see you, Cade. Give me a second. So saying that in 50 years is going to take a whole bunch of jobs, you're judging it by the lens of today. You're not judging it by the lens of
8
the
years,
future.
bro.
It's not going to
8
take over.
years,
It's not going to take
not
over
50
most.
years.
It's not going to take over most industries in 8 years. You know how I know that? Because they said that back in 2010. Like fucking Christ, bro. Shit is dynamic. Appreciate you being up here, though, man. I'll move on to Cade. All right, Cade's been in the comments for a while. Give me a second, Cade. All right, Two Pete, if you want to go ahead and come on up, go ahead and request. Hey, Bree, I see you in the request, and Hydra Power Level, I see you in the request as well. I'm gonna talk to Cade for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the next people. All right, Cade, how's it going?
Pretty good. I wanted to start with number 3, and then maybe we can get into 5 and 7 if there's enough time. Number 3, abortion rights. How would you define a right?
How I define a right? That's a little a right is basically like I don't want to repeat myself because I'm about to say a right is a right, but a right I would say is something that you have damn I'm using the word right again. A right is something that can't be can't be taken away from you, or something that's granted to you by society. Like your authority. There it is, authority. That's the word I'm looking for. Authority. Your authority to act. Either something that's like we could say God given, or just something that society grants.
Okay, so society grants rights is what your position is?
Society can grant some rights, and some rights are like nature, like God given, like the right to defense.
Okay, so can society take rights away?
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying, we'll get into that in a second, but you're saying that women have a right to an abortion?
Women have a right to an abortion because they have a right to their own body. That's one of the God-given things I'm talking about.
Right, so you're saying that they have bodily autonomy?
Correct.
Okay.
I think
this is full stop, right?
Yeah, full stop. I think bodily autonomy is a God. I don't believe in a God, but just for like lack of a better term, I think bodily autonomy is a God-given right.
Well, if you don't believe in a God, I mean, how do you flesh that out exactly?
It's just lack of it's just basically like lack of a better word, lack of a better term for us to use for it. Like something that's not given by society, something that you just have for being a human, essentially. That's
okay,
what God-given means.
Okay, I think I understand what you're saying. To be charitable, maybe we could move a little bit beyond that, but maybe we'll revisit it. But when you're talking about bodily autonomy, full stop, do you believe that all humans have this?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Don't preamble. Just get to what your point is. What is the conclusion of your point?
Right. What is the threshold of when bodily autonomy stops?
What do you mean stops?
Let's say we have a woman that wants to have very realistic looking tattoos of child corn on her body. Would you permit that in your society that talks about, this sort of bodily autonomy?
You actually do have a right to do that. You can have child corn on your body.
Do you think that ought we do that in your society?
Ought we do that? I would discourage it.
Ought we be able to do that?
I would discourage it
though. Why?
Because number one, I find child porn disturbing, and it's promoting basically violation of the child's rights, of children's rights.
But these are like drawings that like fake things. In your society, would this bodily autonomy?
Yeah, I would just find it gross.
Well,
I would discourage it. I would discourage it but I'm not sure about making laws around it. I won't be sure about making laws around it.
So you would permit child pornography in the form of very realistic tattoos in your society?
No.
Well, I think that toothpaste on pizza is very gross. So how do you flesh out what is acceptable when it's talking about bodily autonomy and when we're talking about rights?
What it promotes.
What it promotes?
Yeah. Because
Do you think that
child porn very, very clearly promotes violation of children. So why would I promote that?
Right. But you're saying that I asked you initially, would you promote bodily autonomy full stop? And you said yes, full stop.
Oh, no, then it's not full stop then.
Okay, so you don't agree with that. So when we're talking about abortion itself, since you have conceded on the right to bodily autonomy, would you say?
No, I didn't concede
as
on
a
the right to
soci-
bodily autonomy. There are limits, sure. But
yeah, but you said full stop initially.
Yeah, I would I wouldn't full like I would say there are limits. Like for example, someone said in the comments harm reduction. Like if it's going to be like reduction of harm, then yeah, I would promote like that would be the limit there to reduce
Yeah, I would
harm.
just say they never leave their house. Like let's just say they have child porn tattoos on their body.
Then we can't stop it, can we?
Would you be okay with that in your society though?
If a person had child porn on their body?
Yeah, a woman tattooed child porn all over her body. In the name of bodily autonomy, would you say that we ought be able to, permit this in your society?
No, I wouldn't permit it in my society because again, like it promotes harm, and I want to
no
do
one
harm
else
reduction.
ever sees it. No one.
Then I can't stop it, can I?
Yeah, but would you say that that's okay in your society?
I wouldn't say it's okay, but I can't stop it because you're already saying that the person is never going to leave their house. So what
Why
can I do
can't you
about it?
use force to not allow people to do that?
I can't use force because she's never going to leave her house. She's in her own property. So I can't
Okay,
use
so
force,
you
can
would
I?
say that, yeah, you would say that they could do this on their own property, probably shouldn't go into public. So when we talk about abortion as a whole, would you be against people getting abortions, let's say in the elective process, just simply because, let's say, white lady hook up with black man and she only wants abortion because baby gonna be black?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
She should be able to get the abortion because baby gonna be black.
Go ahead and get it. You're a terrible
So
person.
you
but go ahead
wouldn't
and
be
get it.
concerned with number 7 then. You're not actually concerned with racism then. You don't really actually care about that?
No, I care about systemic racism. If you're,
Yeah,
if
but
you-
let's say
hold on.
a
Let
group of
me
large
just
group- Okay,
just
just
explain
answer
this.
the question then.
Hold on, wait. I already told you that I am against. I said I'm against systemic racism. If a white person wants to lynch me, that's his problem. If he has the power to lynch me, then it's my problem. I'm against systemic racism. I don't care what people believe.
Right. So if the state upholds a person's right to have an abortion simply because the baby's going to be black or
We already do that.
biracial,
They already do
would
that.
you be okay with people aborting babies simply because they're going to be interracial?
Yeah, I mean, like, am I gonna be okay with it? No, because I'm against racism. But am I gonna go ahead and make it illegal? No.
Right. So just to be clear, you would be okay with a woman having an abortion
Again,
simply
I
because of the
won't.
fact
I
that
would
baby's
not be
gonna be
okay
black.
with it. I will still see her position as reprehensible, but I'm not gonna make it against the law.
Okay, so you wouldn't care. So how do you address number 7 if you're not truly caring about racism?
Because I already told you, I care about systemic racism.
Yeah, and so if
I don't
we
care
had a
about personal
society-
racism. If you're a personal racist, that's your problem.
Oh, okay. Why don't you care about personal racism when it deals with the, like a third party?
What I don't care about personal racism because that's your problem.
Yeah, because a baby wouldn't be personal; it would be a third party.
Yeah, because personal racism is your problem. I'm talking about systemic racism. Systemic racism is an issue.
So a massive group of, let's say white women that hook up with black guys, they left the club. They want to abort
What,
their
hold on, stop.
fetuses.
What type of ridiculous scenarios are these? If a woman's
Well,
gonna
I
be a
wanna
racist, hold on, wait,
test your
stop.
logic.
If she's gonna be racist, ain't no way she's gonna be out here fucking with niggas. Like that's stupid, bro.
Why are you
She's not gonna
running
be
from
out.
what
She's not
I'm
gonna. She's not
asking
gonna
you?
be out. She's not gonna be out here.
She doesn't
Fucking a whole
want the
bunch of
black
black dudes.
baby.
She's not gonna be out here fucking
Yeah.
a whole bunch of black dudes if she doesn't want to. What are we talking about?
Yeah, she likes black dick. She doesn't like black babies. That's the thing. That's my question to you. How do you address number
Kiddo,
7?
you for real?
Yeah, I'm asking you. You're not doing very good right now.
No, you're
I'd
bringing up
actually
very
argue.
stupid. You're bringing up. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, Issa,
you
give me a
haven't.
second. You're
You
bringing
couldn't
up
even
very
define
stupid
rights.
scenarios. You're bringing up
You couldn't
extremely.
even define rights, and now we're into the abortion topic.
You're bringing up very ridiculous scenarios. This is stupid.
Why is that
You're
ridiculous? You
saying
don't think that happened?
this is very no. This is very very stupid. You're saying
Oh,
that.
that never
You're saying that.
happened.
You're saying that a whole bunch of white women are gonna go out there have sex with a whole bunch of black guys for the purpose of having an abortion. This is the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. Bro.
Okay, let's look at the statistics right now. Would you be willing to look up the statistics?
I actually
of
have
how
something
many?
to say.
Hold up a second. I'm in the middle
Nope,
of talking.
no, I have something
So,
to say.
oh, host,
I
you
have
running
something
from
to
me?
say.
Hey,
I'm gonna
Kate,
mute you.
Kate,
I'm
be
gonna
quiet
mute
for a
you
second.
now.
Be
I'm
quiet
gonna
for a second.
Oh,
Be quiet for a
host
second.
had
Be
to
quiet for a second.
run. Host had to run
No,
right now.
no, I didn't have to run. I already answered all your stupid questions.
I
Someone
didn't- I
else wants to
wasn't
talk
done.
to you. Someone
Oh,
else
your
wants to
friend
talk
wants
to
to
you.
talk.
Someone else wants to talk to you. Someone else wants to
Oh.
talk to you. Someone else wants to talk to you. She's
So
gonna
you
talk
gotta
to you
run
now.
away.
I'm not.
Run
I'm not.
away.
Hey, Kate. If you continue to be an asshole, I'm just gonna drop you.
Yeah, that's just because you're scared to debate.
I already debated you, and everything you
Anyway.
said was
What are
fucking
rights?
stupid.
What are rights, host? What are rights again?
All right,
host,
shut up
just to
for a second,
clarify?
Kate. Go ahead,
Oh,
Issa.
you can't answer.
I would actually argue that a woman who
Yeah.
would
So what are
have the
rights, host?
audacity.
What are
Could you
rights?
keep muting him?
Yeah, I'm
Please.
Yeah,
gonna
mute
I
him.
would
Mute him.
argue that somebody that would get pregnant just to have an abortion because a child is uh interracial
How
or
many kids did you
biracial.
kill?
Be quiet.
One,
How many
just
of your
one,
kids did
just
you?
one,
Oh,
just one,
damn! Killed
just
the
one.
kid. Wow, we got a murderer.
All
But
right, we're gonna go
anyway,
ahead and
so I
drop
would
Kate and move
argue.
on. Go ahead, Issa.
I would argue that somebody who would get pregnant just to have a child, just to get, just to abort a child that was biracial, would be doing that potential child a favor.
Yeah,
That's my
agreed.
argument. Because why should that child be brought into a world where this parent that has a parent that's going to hate it? And it's a woman's choice to be pregnant because pregnancy itself is damaging to a woman's body. So we should have the choice whether we want to carry something that's literally leaching off of our bodies, regardless of how abhorrent that person is. So yeah, she should definitely get rid of that child, 100%.
Exactly. Hey, Bree, how's it going?
Hi,
How you doing,
I'm
Bree?
great. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
You
Bree,
have a lot of patience. Go ahead.
now I was gonna ask if you were over 18 and if you disagree with anything I had on the board.
I am over 18. I have yes, on number 7. Woke.
You disagree on number 7. All right, cool, not a problem. Issa, it's okay. It's okay. I'll drop you real quick. I'll bring you back up at the end. All right. Appreciate you, Issa.
Okay, no problem.
Go for it. No, go for it.
W Issa. All right. So Bree, you said you disagree on woke. Why is woke a bad thing?
Because it was never clearly defined and Republicans are using it as a word to just it basically they're saying black war on black people, and us trying to have so-called woke communities, I think it kind of backfired on us because they were able to say attack on black people without saying attack on black people, and it was never really truly clearly defined, and we really needed something like a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X to clearly steer us in a way of us having a collective voice and being able to rebut them, knowing that this is something that we created and something that would help the community.
Gotcha. I mean, the thing is, I'm actually disagree a bit because woke did have a definition, and we actually knew what it meant. Like it was repeated over and over again. It wasn't like have a clear definition like in the dictionary, but in the community we kind of knew what that meant. It just meant awareness of racial and social injustice. We already knew that's what it meant. Like now, it's like as you said, white Republicans took it and just made it as an attack on black people. We understand that, but in the community, it always meant awareness of racial and social injustice. So like we have that definition. It's just that white conservatives had no idea what it meant because they don't know how black people talk.
So I kind of agree. And the reason why I kind of agree, because it was never clearly defined to me. And I consider myself an educated woman. I consider myself on social media and I can see little trends and I'll look it up and things of that sort. But it was, even to me, it was, I had a different vision of woke. Just knowing, for me, woke was knowing what's going on and having a community like the nod. Like if we walk past each other, it's a nod. Like, okay, I got your back. Like the Alabama brawl, where I think you've seen it. You know what I'm talking about with the
Definitely
security.
seen it.
Exactly where
The
we
boat
are.
brawl.
We're not, that's what I love it. I think it's a holiday.
It is.
It is, right? But I think it was a collectiveness. Like we can hear the beat of our own drum, and we can come to conclusions, like how all this protest is happening. We literally, without saying it, said, oh, we out of this. We tried to warn y'all. No, and it was no one single person that said it. We just all felt it. So I think that was woke to me. It's like more of a community where we're more looking out for one another now than we were before. But then when I go on other like lives, I say, what is Trump's definition of woke? And no one can answer that question. I say, how do you have a war on woke, but you can't clearly define it?
What it is, yeah. So basically, if
Because
you
we never clearly defined it. That's the thing. If we did, they would know.
I mean, the thing is, when it comes to, well, you kind of already know this, right? When it comes to within the community, how Black people speak, when it comes to AAVE, we kind of know what things already mean, right? Like it's we come up with certain terms in our community, and then we use in that community, and we know what it means. Like for example,
YT.
back in YT back in 2014, when everybody was saying fleek or yeet, we knew what what that meant, but because
It was never clearly defined.
and the thing is, slang is never clearly defined, right? Like for example, white folks have slang too. Like when they talking about, look at here, pal, or get a load of this guy. You know what I'm saying? All that is not really clearly defined, but we all kind of know what it means. It's the same thing with Black people on our slang. When they're not clearly defined in any dictionary, but we all kind of know what it means. You see what I'm saying? The reason why it has advantages and disadvantages, because the advantage is that we can speak to each other and know it. I'm sorry, give me a second. Sorry, y'all. Give me a second, y'all. TikTok tends to do this whenever I go on for long. Give me 1 minute. I just got to refresh this page.
I think y'all might be one of those words that you're talking about. So that's not a real word.
Yeah, give me a second, y'all. Yeah, duh. Yeah, TikTok is
universal healthcare would suck.
Hold on. I'm just having a little bit trouble with my TikTok live. I'm not sure what's going on.
It seems okay for me.
Am I still on mute? Do y'all hear me?
No.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
You can't hear me?
Hear you.
All right, great.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so I'm gonna try to get this fixed. Give me a second. But like I was saying, when it comes to like slang term, that has an advantage because we can talk to each other without like we can talk to each other in informal language and know exactly what we all mean, right? But just like how you said, if it's not clearly defined, then anyone can take it and say anything about it. That's the other problem, right? But like what I think is that I don't think woke was the problem there. I think it was the fact that folks didn't, especially white conservatives, they didn't take the time to actually understand how we talk in our community. And that's when the quote war on woke thing happened. They just don't know what it means. And because they don't know what it means, and now
how
we
we
have
were
this problem.
supposed to do that?
Talk to
how
black
were we
people.
supposed to do that?
Talk to
yeah,
black
were
people.
we supposed to
Hey,
go knock on
did it.
everybody's
Be
door?
quiet for a second. Be quiet for a second. Thank you very much.
You don't have to repeat yourself.
All right.
I heard you.
Shut the fuck up for a second. Thank you very much. All right. So, Bree, does all that make sense?
It does make sense, yes.
Right.
But I agree with everything else on here. But the only other thing that I wanted to mention is I believe in segregation. And that's something that I think the undertones of getting our communities back is something that we want to do.
Right. Here's what I would say, right? I understand the sentiment, but I think people are kind of like don't have a full picture of what segregation would be. I get the sentiment, right? But segregation still means that we have no control over our resources because we don't control any of the industries in this country, like none of them. So if that's the case and segregation happens, who has the control? You see what I'm saying? So that's what I would say people to be very, very careful about segregation. Now, I do understand a degree of separation for our own autonomy. I do get that. I'm not saying that separation cannot or should not happen or a degree of separation cannot or should not happen just for our sake of our own autonomy. I do get that. But legal segregation is a whole nother monster. And I don't think that we're all the way ready for that yet, if that makes sense to you.
We did it though. We did it in Black Wall Street. We actually, Wall Street was created by a black man. So it's not like we're not inventive enough to have and be able to control and have our own rights within our own communities. That was the issue. Once we integrated, that's where all the issues became, because it was so-called separate but equal. No, it wasn't.
Right.
So yeah,
I mean, the thing is, if we segregate, that's going to be the same exact thing. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have like our own economic autonomy. I do agree with you there, but like legal segregation means that resources that could be afforded to us right now will not be afforded to us if we legally segregate. And I don't think we're ready for that yet. Now, Black Wall Street was a thing. Right. What I'm saying is that Black Wall Street was a thing. That is true. Black Wall Street was a thing. But the majority of black people back then were not living on Black Wall Street. You see what I'm saying? The majority of black people back then were not that. It was completely something else. So when it comes to segregation, what I would say is that we got to strategize that first instead of legally separating, because I'm not sure we're ready for it yet.
Started it. But he started it with the contractors being able to say that black people can't be in restrooms and things of that sort. So it's not a far-fetched thing to say that, okay, let us go back to it. You want your sundown towns, you want all of that, you can have it. Give us our 40 acres and a mule, just like you paid the Native Americans, just like you paid the Jews, just like you paid all of these different people that got reparations. Give us our reparations and leave us the fuck alone.
Right. No, I like if that were to happen, then I'll be fine. But under segregation, trust me, they wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't do that. So that's the concern that I have. I'm not even against the idea of what folks are saying. I'm just saying, like, you know, let's be prudent, because like if segregation, I know exactly how they would do that, and it won't look good for us. So we got to be prepared for that outcome.
We're
See what I mean?
smart enough to figure out those loopholes and figure out how they would try to put it where it can unjustly affect us. But we're smart enough. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. So we're smart enough to know that you cut me before. You think you're not going to try to cut me now?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I do get it, but I would just say we should hash out the details and instead of rushing into it. You see what I'm saying? All right, gotcha.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate you. Not a problem, Bree. Appreciate you being up here. W Bree in the chat. All right. 5-star. This is not bait. Number 2 is not bait at all. All right. 5-star. Go ahead and come on up.
How you doing today?
I'm all right. Choose the path. I think we spoke before.
Yeah, man. It's
all right. Cool.
Yeah.
Wolf, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just gotta go someplace a little more quiet, like kitchen's noisy.
Yeah, no, not a problem. Let me talk to Choose first, and then I'll move on to you. All right. All right. So Choose,
Sure
are
thing.
you over 18 and lean conservative and disagree with something I have on the board?
No, I'm a registered Republican. I definitely don't lean conservative. I did have like a couple of comments, and then I'll drop down.
Sure.
The woke thing, I think that it gets misappropriated a lot, much like when they use things like social justice warrior as a slur. And there's a very popular mainstreaming of othering and slurring people who are doing things that don't help the imperial core. They call us hippies and slackers and the F slur and the R slur, right? It's a very common strategy, and it's not strictly along racial lines. It is loyal to racial prejudices, but it's not strictly along those lines. A lot of these times, the attack on wokeness and on social justice and on justice and human rights instead of punitive hierarchical government is that we're constantly fooled into thinking that some good reason exists for these like oppressive systems, and like being woke, and at least in part, is recognizing that it's rigged, and like recognizing the class and race war conflicts that are in our society.
I'll say this right now: you do not sound like a Republican, because if more
Well, I'm a
Republicans sounded
registered.
like you.
I'm that one. I'm the same. I'm witch.
That one. You sounded familiar. You sounded really familiar. Give me 1 second. That one. 5-star.
Sure.
Like I said, go ahead and come on up if you'd like to talk about it. Because it's not rage bait. I actually do believe in all these. But that one. I do agree. It is definitely like that. But I don't think we're gonna disagree on anything, because like I think you're probably pretty much on my side for most of this anyway. But you mind if I talk to Wolf real quick?
No, I don't mind at all. I just had one thing about reparations and
Sure.
about when, but I can wait.
Yeah, not a problem. All right, Wolf, how's it going?
It's going great.
All right. You over 18 and lean conservative?
I'm over 18, but I'm neither conservative nor Marxist. I'm more along the lines of a middle ground in that area. 'Cause I know there's certain programs that need social programs, like in order to live, but at the exact same time, a few of the things like up there that are social programs need like heavily reform before they can actually be allowed.
Yeah, I
Like,
do agree
take
that
this-
we need to have some reforms on a lot of our social programs, food stamps being one of them. But do you think anything I have on the board is a bad thing?
I can talk about almost everything on there, at least because since I talk to both sides, like I'm the middle ground, therefore I'm hated by both sides. Like there are like good sides on both sides, so I'm gonna just talk about like the positive people, not the people who want to see the world burn because they're unhappy, but the people who actually want to heal the world, but they're exactly polar opposite in political spectrum. So from the conservative thing, like with the first one, universal health care. Like I would really truly like a universal health care, but America's medical pharmaceutical company is like the #1 most corrupt, evil organization in America. Like we charge 350 times the price of medicine. So $700 for epinephrine, it only costs $2. But if you have insurance, you pay $200. The insurance company pays $200. Then the hospital says that it's a $300 loss, so the hospital doesn't have to pay taxes. But if you have like a healthcare, like Medicaid, like my mother did, then the hospital will just basically milk the Medicaid until the patient dies. Like I know several nurses here in Detroit that basically quit their job because they didn't want to like carry the old ladies to get X-rayed for cancer. They know that they didn't away. They were just milking the clock. Like the universal health care, like if it was set to where they were on a socialist pay, to where they only get paid like because I don't believe anybody should get rich off another person's sick. Like that just seems like the worst type of criminal part. So the one conservative view about saying that the medical, like doctors driving in Ferraris after a few days while everyone in the neighborhood's sick and dying, that needs to be fixed. Not to mention like a lot of the sicknesses and diseases we have are linked to like brother sister companies, linked to the hospital, to the food that they feed us, the stuff they put in our water. It's more along the lines that if a universal health care would be passed now, it'd be like it would be a blank check sent to the hospital, linked directly to our tax income.
Right. All right. So, like, the thing is, when it comes to everything that you're talking about happens because of the profit motive within these private companies, right? So, if they know that they need to make a profit off of it, of course they're going to either cut corners or raise their prices to astronomical amount because they want to make the money. If it's universal health care, that makes healthcare nonprofit motivated at that point. It literally like cuts out all the middlemen, especially if we do price controls, like how you said before, like insulin or epinephrine. I think you said can cost $2 to make, but it charges $300 a pop, right? So if we have price controls, if it's $2 to make, yeah, $700. So if it's $2 to make, we say that you can't charge over $10 on it. Then like price control, like they do in Europe, because in Europe, since it's universal healthcare and the government is paying for all this, they have more negotiating power than anyone else has, and says, hey, you only spent $5 to make this medicine. You're not gonna charge the citizen $300 to do it. You're gonna charge them this amount to do it. You're still gonna make your profit, but you're not gonna make this exorbitant amount. You see what I'm saying? So that's how it would be. It will cut out all the middlemen. It will actually make the prices of everything go down, especially things like insulin. Like we have to keep passing legislation every single year to not raise the price of insulin. When if we had a universal system and the body that's supposed to actually be for the people, by the people, which is the government, can fight for our side to say that these pharmaceutical companies are not going to screw us over, then that will bring the cost of everything down.
I get that part, but like I said, my mother was killed through a government-paid Social Security thing. So the way I can explain like the parts that you're probably missing is that there's already a law in place that hospitals have to pay down how much they pay for the medicine, and the hospitals they're tricky with it. Like the best way I can explain it is like you can go to one hospital and you pay like $1,300 for one procedure. Go to another hospital, it's like $1,800. Same exact procedure, same tools, they just charge differently. And they basically get to pick the prices that they want for this stuff. Like you'll pay $15 for one Band-Aid that you could have gotten a whole box of at any pharmaceutical store. And they basically lie to the government any way that they possibly can. Like I said, it's the pharmaceutical companies. It's the number one most evil company in America. And I want it set up to where the companies get paid according to like a fixed statement to where they don't get, like you can't get rich off of it. But
that's what universal health
once
care
again, that's what I wanted to do. But the way that it's being used is that it's a blank check because going into our taxes. Like my mom was.
That's not how we would do it. That's not how you when
it's not how me and you would want it.
Yeah.
We're not talking about me and you. We're talking about like people who make more money than me and you will ever make in our lifetime.
Right.
Those are the
understood.
ones.
So like the issue is basically like the issue like the pharmaceutical companies. If we were to have universal health care, the pharmaceutical companies and the insurance companies would have big sway over how it's written, right? That's the concern?
That's pretty much what it is.
Okay, cool. No, I do understand that concern. I definitely understand that concern. Now Medicaid and Medicare do have certain guidelines. They just don't give out a check. But like you said, how you're concerned about, there is Medicaid fraud out there, and there's people who have a vested interest in, if the universal health care pass, for them to still make their amount of money. I do get those concerns. Trust me, I get it. This is why we need like more people on our side to actually like agree with universal health care and hold our politicians' feet to the fire, so they cannot get swayed by the lobbyists of the insurance and the pharmaceutical companies, because that's what happened with the ACA, and that's why the public option was dropped. If we still had the public option, then we would see a bigger expansion of Medicaid. But because like the politicians were pressured by the pharmaceutical and the insurance companies, they dropped the public option. We probably would have been on our way to universal health care already if that didn't happen. You see what I'm saying? So I do get your concern. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we, the people, hold our politicians to the feet to the fire and say that this is the universal health care that we want. Not the universal health care that's going to give a blank check to the pharmaceutical or the insurance companies, but the type of universal health care where you're going to be fighting for our side, and the regulations on it is going to be on our side. It's going to have the same regulations and provisions as things like Medicaid and Medicare, where it's completely spelled out, not a huge blank check to the pharmaceutical companies. We as the people have to all be on the same accord for that to happen. It's just unfortunately we're not on the same accord right now. I hope that makes sense to you.
It does. I got like one way of actually fixing it my own way. Put like all the people who receive some type of government assistance, or not the people, but the doctors. They receive governmental funding as well as any other major corporation that receives governmental funding. To have like a maximum wage of what they can receive according to their work, according to where they live. Not so much like an unlimited check. Like that would automatically stop most corruption that comes into place. This way, like it doesn't matter what you charge, it's going to go back into the city some way, shape, or form. So if you want to charge $700 for medicine that only costs 30 cents, it doesn't matter because you're not going to get a Ferrari giving somebody a 15-cent dollar store Band-Aid. Like if there's a limit set to it so that people can't make money off of the sick and dying, then you'll get 100% support. But a lot of the people I know that that are conservative, including the corrupt ones, it's because they had a family member or a friend who basically was abused by the Medicaid system or was saved because they actually had the money to afford a better doctor and actually go and pay for private insurance opposed to like the socialism.
Right, but like universal healthcare is a lot cheaper.
Right.
Like on a national level, like a lot cheaper.
I get that, but the argument that the conservative, like, all right, so like I said, I talk to good conservatives that actually want to see the world grow, and I talk to greedy conservatives that try to get free labor without paying people. I've worked with people like those, fucking disgusting. But the thing is, with these people, it's they believe that they can bribe their way to get what they want, and they feel like the exact same is happening the other way. That people are like not doing their job because they want the money. It's corrupt people looking and seeing corrupt people. But like I said, if we can get to situated to where corruption doesn't exist, that people cannot make money off the sick and dying, then there's no argument to have about it.
Gotcha.
Like if you only get paid off the healthy and the wealthy, or the healthy and the well, then you only get paid off the healthy and the well. You're gonna want to do your job right. But if you're guaranteed a check, regardless whether the person's healthy or sick, and you get more money depending upon more medicine that you put in there. Like right now, it's a joke, like a common joke that's seen within pop culture, that if you go into the hospital and you leave your credit card unsecured, they're gonna rack up every bill they possibly can, especially if it's a good credit card. Like it's
Can you give me a second, one second, Wolf? All right. Hey,
sure.
Tam, I keep inviting you, but you don't want to come up. I don't know why. Go ahead and come on up so we can actually have a discussion, because I'm not gonna take you just crashing out in the comments. So go ahead and come on up. Let's have a discussion, and then we could talk about all this. All right. And Art, go ahead and come on up as well. Art, we could go ahead and talk about that as well. Wolf. Oh, and one last thing, y'all. We are at 20K likes right now. I appreciate you all. 3,000 views. You guys are amazing. We got 45 people in here. You guys are amazing. Please go ahead and keep liking that button. Go ahead and send those gifts. I do have a subscription goal. If you see it up there, go ahead and join my cult. It costs less than a chicken a month, only $2.99. If you'd like to see me keep doing this type of content, you can see my handsome face every single month, and I'll keep doing it. Go ahead and join the cult. Only $2.99. I appreciate you all being out there. Tam, go ahead and come on up. Art, go ahead and request and come on up. I'm gonna go ahead and go to DJ next. Wolf, did you have any last thing for me? Because I think we pretty much agree.
Well, yeah, it's pretty much universal healthcare, but there's other topics. I'd like to go down the list actually. Like
Sure.
I don't know much about guaranteed housing, but it was like housing for the homeless. I'm for that part once again, but the problem I have with that is like this is the first time I'm hearing of it. But like I said, I've spoke to so many corrupt individuals and seen how people function so often. I feel like that's just gonna basically be like the gentrification thing to just move people around from over here. Like I'm noticing that here in Detroit. Like basically this part of the city is about to get like a huge tax raise, and everyone's gonna get like better. Like our water's gonna work. We're gonna stop flooding and stuff. And all the people came out the woodwork trying to buy everybody's houses. Well, before the tax money started coming to this part of Detroit, it was actually very bad here. You get floods. There was no plows coming through the streets. It was pretty much like living up in the woods. So
Yeah,
all I
when
see
it
is the
comes
guaranteed
to
housing. Right. All I see with the guaranteed houses is that they're going to basically be moving people around like they do in China. That's all I got from that part.
Now, when it comes to guaranteed housing, that just means that we're going to eliminate homelessness. It's already been calculated, I think, by the Bureau of Labor Statistics that eliminating homelessness all across America would take about $20 billion. And that's I think per year. You can do $20 billion and now to get rid of all of homelessness, essentially. So essentially what's going on is just like how you said that a lot of people just buying up houses. So the houses are sitting empty, but they're just there for speculation, and that's how they're making money off of it, right? So what we would do to guaranteed homes is that to not allow them to do that anymore. Like a home can't sit empty off of speculation for more than 6 months. If we were to able to do that, then we could actually get people into these homes instead of them just being out into the street. We've seen that homelessness causes issues like it raises crime rates, it raises addiction rates and stuff like that. Because being homeless is very, very stressful, and then you're gonna go ahead and being homeless is very stressful, and that's why they get on drugs or they commit crimes because they want to have a place to sleep at night, right? So if we were to actually address that core issue of just putting people in a home, we see that issues like addiction and crime go down. But that doesn't mean that your rent and your mortgage or anything like that is all of a sudden free. It just means that we're going to make sure that homelessness doesn't happen as much as possible. It doesn't mean that, if let's say an LGBTQ individual gets kicked out his house because his parents are evangelical Christians or whatever, he or she can still find somewhere to live instead of being out there in the street. You know what I mean? It might be like a government run service or a government run group home or an apartment building that's ran by the government that guarantees homes or housing for individuals, but that's what it would be. No one everyone will have the option to be housed somewhere. It wouldn't be you just go out there and try to survive.
Oh, I mean, I sort of disagree with that, Volchi. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but we need to make it so that municipal housing and like affordable resources are met. And really, what we'd have to do is make sure that no job pays less than the cost of living.
Yeah,
Like
I'll do that too.
that's what we would need. Like a job must pay enough to cover your needs. And we just don't take that seriously in America. Like our minimum wage is a joke. Like we are on average $1,000 in the red because the average cost of living is $38,600 and the average income for an American is $37,500. So we are like $1,100 in the hole on average for just meeting our basic needs.
Right. No, I definitely agree with that. We have to do something with the living wage, but the only thing about I agree. I totally agree with that. We got to focus on we can do all these at the same time, right? Focus on our living wages and everything like that. 100% agree. But
subsidizing housing so it has to stay affordable. Part of the reason.
Yeah.
Part of the reason this thing you're talking about in Detroit is happening is because there's a desire to gentrify instead of having it be generational buildings. Like people are, instead of having access to housing that's consistent and like gets reduced in cost over time, we all are paying more and more. Like as an example, when I was making $10 an hour in the early 90s and late 80s, that was a good job.
Yeah. Right now
that shit was more than enough to pay my rent, my food, my cable bill, my Denver lettuce habit, like all that shit. And now $10 an hour won't even pay the rent.
Yeah, $10 an hour. You'll be lucky if it pays your car
like
insurance.
my rent in the
way
my rent.
I see it is truth is perspective of observational reality, and they do what they can to make us stupid. If you're in like poor or bad neighborhoods, they distract you with desperation because desperate people basically commit crimes. Only the hungry steal food. Like only the weak, damaged, and hurt want to hurt and damage other people. Desperation to control.
That
the weak.
isn't true at all.
Yeah.
The rich
It's
people
not
do
100%.
all the hurting.
Yeah.
No, that's only one. That's one half of it.
Yeah,
The other half of it is
pause.
it's the carrot and the stick.
I'm gonna pause. But yeah, I do agree with you, Choose, that we should focus on the cost of living and making sure that we're all like we should focus on the cost of living, right? I do agree with you on that. We should focus on our wages. I do agree with you on that, right? These are things that that we can do, but I also think that we can do guaranteed housing because we have millions of homes sitting empty and millions of homeless people. We have more homes sitting empty than we do homeless people. I think we have about
I agree.
20 million
I'm in
homes.
Detroit. I can vouch for
Exactly.
that.
I think we have like 20 million homes sitting empty and like only about like 5 million homeless people. We can actually house people. We're just not doing it. You see what I'm saying? And I think it's most of the reason is because there are homes just sitting on speculation. If we were to force these companies to not do that, where you have to either rent out your home or it's gonna get taken from you within the next 6 months. You see what I'm saying? Then we will have people renting out the homes and control rent that is not over the market value. Does all that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I just want to make sure we're clear. Poor people do not commit more crime. False.
Let me finish that
Poor
part.
people do not
Let me
use
finish
more
that part.
drugs.
You cut me off halfway through. It wasn't just poor people. It's basically desperate people. People who don't really have, like, people who...
That's not true, though.
That's half of it. The other half is the
Most
people
of
who
the
are...
crime is wealthy people, man.
I agree.
By large
the other
percentage.
half of it are people who are enslaved by their own pleasures. They feel like that they're entitled to stuff and they get to take it from other people.
I think
But you're in a mistake. You control you control the people who have everything with different pleasures, and they'll do whatever you want to chase their pleasure. And for the people who don't have any pleasure, you control them with pain. I'm not saying that this is the right way of doing things. This is just how I've seen how they control everybody around us. The people who have everything, you bribe them to go where they want to go and do what you want them to do. The people who have nothing, you use pain to push them around. It's not like what I do. It's what I see.
Yeah. Can I add
like
something
I
to
had
that?
a friend. Sure.
Yeah, I just want to add something to that, Wolf. Yeah, what Rev said in the comments, I completely agree with that. It's just blue collar crime and white collar crime are treated differently. I do see what Choose is coming from because rich people commit like wage theft, embezzlement.
Nope. Even violent crime by percentage.
Like domestic violence and stuff like that.
Absolutely, domestic violence, red rum, grape. Wealthy people are much more by percent. If you took how many poor people there are, right? If you took the 99%, right, which is in America somewhere in the 330 million people, right? What percentage of those people have committed a crime? If that's 100 people, if you reduce it down to 100 people, how many have committed a crime, right? A very small percent. If you take the 4,000 billionaires that exist in the globe and think about the amount of crime that they commit by percentage, they commit a lot more violent crime. There ain't no poor people running Epstein Island.
Yeah. Oh, it's especially like it wasn't poor people who did the whole thing with Nestle, where they unalived a whole bunch of babies by selling the mother's poison. Yeah, you know what I mean. So definitely agree with you on that. All right, guys. DJ has been waiting for me patiently. Not Art. Wolf. I appreciate you being up. Yeah, I appreciate you, Choose. Art. I'm sorry. I said Art again. I apologize, Wolf. Wolf, I appreciate you so much for being up here. I know you want to get something else, but DJ has been waiting patiently. Do you have any last thing for me?
Can I wait until he's finished and finish what I'm saying?
Oh, you want to go ahead and stay up here and I'll talk to DJ and then we talk again?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a problem. All right, Bruiser, I'm gonna bring you up. I just gotta go and talk to DJ. DJ, I appreciate you waiting for me patiently. Are you over 18 and do you disagree with anything I have on the board?
For 18, don't disagree with anything on the board. I just had a question.
Sure.
For the prison industry abolition, for that one, are you thinking? Because I'm a proponent for rehabilitation. I think
same.
It just would be better instead of punishing people, trying to rehabilitate them and get them the help that they need more often than not. But what does that look like? Because I know that there are certain countries, I think it's Sweden, for example, they have a system that is mind blowing to me, where it's these people, like they're incarcerated, yes, but it's as if they still live their normal lives. Are we aiming for something like that, or is there some other system that we're trying to get here?
I think we should aim at something similar to that. Now, the way that I would say it like this. I was in the military, right? I was in the military, and in my training facility, they called it Disneyland because it was the new training facility. Basically, our dorms looked nicer, and we had a little bit more space and we can see outside. We had windows and stuff like that. I would say like the prisons that you see in Sweden, where it kind of looks like a small like apartment, you get a desk and a window. I think we should do that. Give them the space, give them dignity, give them a private bathroom and a toilet that actually works and flushes instead of the crap toilets that we see in prisons today. Give them decent confinement, I would say, decent area of confinement. And the way that you rehabilitate them is to see exactly why they committed those crimes in the first place. Because if we look at the crime statistics in the United States, a lot of people are being arrested for poverty crimes like robbery, assault, arson, stuff like that. It's mostly like those are mostly poverty crimes because poverty is a stressor. You see what I'm saying? So alleviating poverty plus like when these people do go into prison, understand what they're going through, get them therapy. You see what I'm saying? Understand why they committed a crime, get them therapy, let them know that, you know, this was a bad thing that they did, make them understand that, and then train them with job skills, you know what I'm saying, with a trade or anything like that. And then when they get out and back into society after they do their 2 years, their 3 years or whatever, and they get back into society, they actually do have a job skill and they can actually go out and work because like their felony record won't be included on them getting an application. Unless it's something serious like, you know, child porn. That makes sense?
Yes, that makes total sense. I love what you have to share with that. And I would just like to share that if businesses are making money off prisons, people are making, and related to this is people are making money off detention centers.
They are. Exactly. And,
So
and,
if
and
the
that's what I want to
objective
ban.
of those is to,
Oh,
yeah, if
I'm
the
sorry, go ahead.
objective of those businesses are to make money, then I think that there's probably corruption happening in the background that people aren't considering.
There definitely is.
I think I think that's a good reason to get money out of rehabilitating people from committing crimes.
Yeah, exactly. There definitely is. There's a lot of money involved in because prison labor is a thing, and the 13th Amendment does allow for slavery as long as a person committed a crime. So like you can essentially enslave the prison population, which is what's happening. Yeah, I mean, like I'm not sure if it happens anymore, but I do know in the 90s, our license plates, that's where it came from. It came from prisoners. Right now, well, this T-shirt was made in Haiti, but like a lot of T-shirts are made by prisoners. A lot of like you know, picking of crops and taking care of animals for like Whole Foods and stuff like that. That's done by prisoners. Even in some call centers. So like when you call for a certain issue, the person answering the phone could be a prisoner. You see what I'm saying? So all that is there. You feel me? Like I think taking the like that type of like private business being involved in prison labor, that needs to be completely eliminated. We shouldn't be doing that anymore.
Agreed. Okay, cool. I was just curious about
Can
your
I jump in on
perspective.
that one actually?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
All right, so this is from my understanding of it. You kind of beat me to it. 13th Amendment, from what I remember, is no man shall own a slave except for the government under penalty of the law.
Right.
Which basically redefines like every jail cell in prison as some type of slave camp owned by the government. The payment that I remember seeing they get is between 10 cents to 25 cents an hour. When they start making enough money to actually like pay for, like when they start actually making real money from the slave labor they have in there, they basically don't need to follow the human rights violations, and that's how you get like up to 10 to 15 people crammed in a cell in inhumane conditions. They just pay off the fine for it. I think it's like a $8 billion industry where the government receives money, and this is one of the reasons why like I'm neither Republican or Democrat, because both Republicans and Democrats receive money from this,
Yeah.
and neither one of them has said or done anything about it or even addressed it. So, and then when they get out of the prison system, they're like stuck in like I consider like the lower class. Like they're unable to get a good job. They're unable to because they got that convict record that's constantly following them. They have a lot of rights restricted from them. Some of them aren't allowed to get driver's license. They got to take the bus. They're not allowed to have right to the Second Amendment. Some aren't allowed to have cell phones. They're not allowed to leave the country. And it's like I said, it's basically you committed a crime, so now you're stuck in this country as the lowest class citizen that we can come across. And it would be somewhat believable if it was like horrible war crimes that could send you to prison. But there's certain states in here where if you have like a repeated offense of like driving red lights, you could do like a year in prison for being a repeated offender.
Yeah.
Like that's where there's some states in here that have prison systems. Like if I would, the prison system is not like a correctional facility at all. It's basically just like something to put people. Like for instance, I looked it up first time I looked it up. I was on YouTube, and I don't know if YouTube thought it was being funny, but they had a black guy saying that his job was picking cotton. Like I don't know if YouTube was being funny or what it was, but it's
Yeah, that's really their job.
now. As far as it goes, like what I would try to do to reform it, I'll just sit there and say, our First Amendment right trumps the 13th. You follow a religion, according to like most religions, you have to be treated with a certain level of humanity or you're set free. And a lot of the things that are done in like in prisons, like people would sit there and say that part all the time, like the Bible is evil because of this. It's involved slavery. Well, the slaves in the Bible were treated far more humane than any ones that were done here, like especially here in Detroit. One guy, I don't know what he did, but they put him in his holding cell, and he died of anemia because he was eaten alive by bed bugs. And it's you either do the labor or you get tortured by whatever means they can probably come to within restriction. And the only one that's actually able to reveal the information of what happened to you will be the very guards that collect money off of your labor.
All right. Well,
Like,
this is the religion week, because you should definitely come back for the religion week, because we could talk about slavery then. But when it comes to all that, yeah, completely agreed. Can you guys give me 1 second? Hey, Issa, do me a favor. Invite Tam up a few more times. If she does not come up, go ahead and just mute her, because I'm tired of folks crashing out in the comments and never actually come up to discuss anything. I'm really tired of that. So Tam, I invited you plenty of times to come on up. If you do not come up, then we're just gonna go ahead and mute you for the live. All right. Art and DJ, I appreciate y'all. Let me just get to Bruiser real quick. Bruiser, are you there?
I'm here. Good evening.
All right. How's it going? Are you over 18, and do you disagree with anything else I have on the board?
Yes, I'm over 18. I agree with number 3.
Agree or disagree?
I disagree with it. Excuse me. I disagree with it. Number 3.
Disagree with number 3. All right, cool. Not a problem. Give me 1 second. DJ, did you have anything else for me?
No, I didn't. That was the only thing I had to ask you today. I appreciate you having me up. I'm gonna drop
All
down.
right. Appreciate you, DJ. Appreciate you. All right, Art. I'm sorry. I keep saying Art. I'm sorry about that, man. Wolf, did you have anything for me?
I can continue off the prison thing, but like I said, if people are gonna come up here and they pick a 3, 4, 6, or 7, I'll be able to like add on to that. And 7 is definitely gonna be the last one there, because I was there when woke at 2016 like was at its peak. And I remember the whole culture war that happened around that time and everything else. Like I know where the downhill came, like what happened, how it started. Like you're gonna get a history lesson of just untold pop culture, on like how that word got destroyed. But
Gotcha.
the
No,
last thing about
trust me,
that-
I definitely know how that word got destroyed. I was kind of around there too. All right, not a problem. You can go ahead and stay up. Because I think after Bruiser, I'll probably end the live and we can go ahead and talk more about that. Woke has been around longer than 2015, but it was around that time when it picked up steam in the mainstream, and that's when it got destroyed. I have a hypothesis about exactly how that happened too. So, all right, Bruiser, you said that you did disagree with number 3. Is that correct?
That is correct. Thank you.
All right. So, why do you disagree with AB rights?
Well, I read a hideous statistic on Google, and Google's not always right, but I don't want to get it wrong, but it was 70 million it was 70 million since the 80s have been AB'd, and that it is more than any other world war. And this is specifically to my community, more than any other world war that's ever been, that has ever happened. And that's a form of a G-side to me. And in my neighborhood, I've known women who've had 3 of those, and they kind of use it as a default for degenerate behavior and, to just be kind of loosey-goosey with their chastity. And I think that if they didn't have that option, they would be vetting the men a lot better. They would be using the courting process a lot better, and we would be more of a civilized society. So I think that AB right is not a right; it's just a way to kind of be degenerate and loose with your behavior.
All right. I disagree with that completely. Number one, AB rights are just, for lack of a better word, God given. They're your natural rights. You have a right to your own body. You can do whatever you want with your own body. Of course, there could be some limits there according to like what society finds pleasurable or not. But I do think you have a complete total right to your own body. If they're using it for degeneracy, I think what could fix that is not taking away the right, but giving them education, because they can, if those the type of people that you're talking about, I know exactly the type of people that you are talking about. The type of people that you're talking about tend to be very, very lowly educated and not use their brain or intelligence. I'm not saying that they're stupid. It's just that their intelligence has never been fostered because of the type of community and environment that they grow up in does not foster their intelligence. You see what I'm saying? So if we were to fix our education system and foster more of our intelligence, you would see less of what you're saying, because we can still take away that right, and guess what? They can still be loose with their behavior. Wouldn't matter. You see what I'm saying? Because even if that right didn't exist, how's that going to stop them from being loose with their behavior? It wouldn't. You can say that it may not for some of them. I do agree. For some of them, they may be saying, okay, I don't have this path anymore. Maybe I should be more careful. But to say that it'll go down completely is just untrue, because the reason why they're doing those things is not because, they have this option there. They're doing these things because of their mindset and the education that they have and type of environment that they're in. That's the reason why they're behaving as degenerately, like as you describe. So what we always also seen is that these type of situations where ABs happen less when people are have better sexual education, when they have more access to contraceptives, when they live in a school or environment that teaches them better. That's what decreases AB rights, not taking with the right away completely. You see what I'm saying? So if we were to focus on those things instead of taking away the right, then you would see what you're pointing out. You would see that less if we focus more on that, not taking away the right.
Yeah, I agree with your point to a degree. I just kind of see it where they have so many other options. We have the adoption process. We have actual abstinence, which people seem to be impossible nowadays. We have so many forms of contraceptive, and she can also ask the man to use a contraceptive, and they have women's contraceptive. So I just feel that there's so many other options besides annihilating and not giving that opportunity for that life to be stimulated and give toward mankind. And I do see it as very degenerate. Also, one last quick point: it also takes the right of the man away, because he doesn't get an option to choose. But of course, he'll be pinned down to 18 to 21 years of child support, and if he doesn't, he'll lose his livelihood, his passport, and potentially even be imprisoned. So I think it's an unfair balance with that, because if it's a right to choice, it should be right to choice for the father also, and he doesn't have an option in that. So it's an unfair balance. I wish we could kind of look at that in a different light.
I mean, when it comes to because you kind of ran through a lot. Yeah, there are options like contraceptives in the adoption system, right? I won't suggest the adoption system because black children don't do well in that system. But when it comes to the adoption system, that is an option, right? Sure. And contraceptives are an option, right? Sure. However, just like how I said, if we had better sexual education, there will be people who would use those more often. There is abstinence, sure. Abstinence is not impossible, right? It's not completely impossible. There are people who can be abstinent. It's just unrealistic to expect, healthy young people to not engage in that. They're going to do it. You see what I'm saying? So if they're going to do it, they should do it safely and be educated in it, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, everything that you're saying is going to go down if we actually educate them, not take away the whole right. Like, taking away the whole right is not going to do anything, because they can still act that way. And not only that, I think they'll make it worse, because when they do seek those services, they'll just go to a back alley somewhere, and that'll be dangerous. And if you try to control those back alley things, sure, you're gonna have a whole bunch of people having children that they didn't want. That's gonna make the situation worse. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, your solution here doesn't really make the situation better; it makes it worse.
I agree that education is important. I just don't know if we should prioritize it. We've been educated not to eat fried foods with the highest obesity rate in the world. We've been educated to not do certain sinful things, but we do it anyway. Education, you can lead someone to water, but they have to want to drink the water, and most people don't want to drink. So I don't know if I'm not saying what you're not saying. I'm not saying what you're saying isn't important, but we've been educated on a lot of rights and wrongs, and it just doesn't seem to be effective. So,
I mean,
I agree with you on education, but people just gonna do what they gotta do, and I think we should close that door so that they don't, so that they will reconsider just being so loosey goosey with their chastity.
but they won't, bro. Like like we've seen this happen before. Like every time they made like ABs illegal at a certain place, what I said happens is what happens. They'll either go to the back alleys where women pass away from that type of stuff, and nothing ever changes, or they have a whole bunch of children that they don't want. It just makes the situation worse. Like and when I say that, with education, when for example, it's been shown that when an area that had a high amount of teenage pregnancies, when they actually had sexual education, a better effect sexual education, they actually saw that the teen pregnancy and the AB rates decrease. When they had like access to contraceptives, they saw those AB rates decrease when those education and contraceptives, effective education and contraceptives. Of course, there's going to be people out there who still do it, but the point is that the solution that I bring up and the solution that you bring up have both been tested in real time, and the one that I'm bringing up works better. The one that you bringing up leads to people passing away and children that were unwanted.
Sure. I mean, to suggest passing away, the act of AB is the worst level of passing away, and I'm trying to make it sound, TikTok friendly. So, I mean, just to give them that option to pass something away, and not give them the option of life is ludicrous to me. And hey, we can agree to disagree. Hopefully, we can come to common ground in society and figure it out. I just, what I've noticed growing up, a lot of lady friends that I know, they just, when they started using it as a default, and they're just kind of like, well, we can just go there to the chop shop, quote unquote. Terrible way to say it, but it's like, wow, guys, like we got to figure it out. We just got to figure it out. But thanks for
Okay.
listening, man.
So,
Yeah.
I gotta.
Yeah, go ahead, Wolf. I'm sorry.
The way I see it, rights aren't privileges; they're responsibilities, and a lot of people have become more irresponsible over the years. And we can't really speak on behalf of like the entire population. We have to look at the statistics because we don't know everybody's story, and then we have to look at the details of those statistics because the details, that was in the details. If we teach people more that their rights or responsibilities, and this is a generation where a lot of people are treating them more like privileges, then we will get like better statistics in certain areas. Now, the whole thing with AB, it's more along the lines of helping somebody. It's like a band-aid to fix somebody for being irresponsible. And now the argument is, what do we do to fix it? Like, I have no problem with someone going and having an AB. The problem I have with it is that it being treated irresponsibly. Like it should be treated for what it is.
I got you. I'll respond to that real quick, but I think 1218 sis has something. 1218, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Did you want to? Because you came in during the AB conversation. Did you want to say something about it, or was something else?
I do, because I hear the young man with the name, the B on his name,
Bruce,
saying the female and her chastity, what you could do to her. One solution will fix all that. You don't have to change occasion. You don't have to change who's doing what to who. Teach them cleanliness and fix the boys. That's reversible. Fix the boys. And we won't have that problem. When they start producing sperm, take them to the doctor. Fix them temporarily. And then when it's time and they feel responsible enough to, they will know where they're laying their seeds because they'll be old enough to make choices for that. But it's always the girl's responsibility. Why? She's not the only one having fun there. Kids are going to be kids. And then nobody's considered the young female that was affected against her will.
Well, no, that part I agree with. That they should be allowed to. They should have that. I agree with that part.
You're making your son safer. You don't have to worry about grandkids, illegitimate grandchildren, and The girls don't have to go through death-defying acts in order to stay safe from
I don't want to. I
That's
didn't want to
actually
make
a
it.
that's actually a good point that 1218 brings up, because we're talking about taking away this right from women. If that's the case, shouldn't we, like, when a boy becomes 13, just give him a vasectomy, and then
No,
we'll prevent all of this?
no. What I'm suggesting is that we don't use our tax money or medical field to solve the problem. It's
We
not a
don't.
gender war. I'm not here to make it a gender war. I'm not pointing, a war rules,
you have
on
a
either
boy, you
side.
start saving
Yeah,
up. You start saving
I'm
up
what
for
I'm
the
saying is
boy.
to go to a doctor to solve a moral issue is a
He does.
problem, and whether we do a vasectomy on a male or whether the AB happens, it's inappropriate altogether. We should do preventive maintenance, and we should not support. We should not call it a right to go to a doctor to unalive a soul that hasn't had a chance to be stimulated by life. It's just inappropriate.
All right, so
What about
Bruiser, here's
younger
the
souls?
here's the problem. Here's the problem, Bruiser. I don't believe in souls. Now what?
Well, I'm not here to personalize. I mean, it's just a matter of choice. But just using the medical, your personal belief doesn't affect the argument. I'm not here to personalize what you believe. I'm just saying
I
that.
mean, but you just said,
Life.
but the problem is, you just brought up souls. So now that I don't believe souls, what happens then?
That word is interchangeable. We can say life. We can say whatever you want to use that's appropriate for your beliefs. Those words are interchangeable. Yeah, soul is just the word I decided to use, but
I
we can
gotcha.
go with life. We can, yeah, those are interchangeable.
Gotcha. Okay, so here, here's the thing. Like, now it gets even more complex, because life, I don't think, is the issue here. It's the issues of consciousness. Like, when does the person actually start? Do you think the person actually starts when the sperm hits the egg, or does the person actually starts when they can get conscious experience?
I like to use this example of, when you started building the car's not complete, but you started with the foundation or the chassis. So the car has started. Once you've started building the car. I just try to make it as simple and complex as possible. When you start building a house, you start with the foundation. While the house isn't built yet, I mean, it's just all, just word semantics ultimately. Once you decide to start the process is started, and I consider it at that point, inappropriate.
All right, so like, if we had let's say, like, how you said, right? Once you start building the car, it's a car. So you're saying that if I have 4 wheels and a frame, boom, I have a car. I can take it on the highway.
No, what I'm saying is once you abandon the process and you've already started building the 4 wheels and the chassis, then that's inappropriate, because
Why?
that's back. Why?
Yeah, if I'm building a car and it's just 4 wheels and a husk, I can just throw that away, can I? Why is it inappropriate for me to throw that away?
Because we will be teaching our young children to kind of like dismiss things that they've started. We will be teaching, not even young children, excuse me. I don't even want to go there because that's another conversation. But our adults, let's just stick to the adults. We'll be teaching our adults that it's appropriate to go to a doctor to start a process and just have a procedure and just abandon it. And abandonment is a terrible thing. So
It
no,
doesn't teach that.
it's inappropriate. That's what we will be reinforcing.
No, it doesn't.
We wouldn't be teaching it, but we would be supporting it to a degree, saying, well, you can make a mistake and we'll just go and chop it up. And it doesn't matter if it's just 4 wheels and a chassis. It's not a whole car. So just come on in and have
Yeah.
a procedure and get it out the way.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
That's a
what's
tough
wrong?
one. But hey, that's all wrong. Everything's wrong about it.
What's wrong about it?
I mean, I mean, having a child is deeper than just some physical action. It's spiritual. It's a lot of different things involved with that.
Right. Okay,
And
but
if you're
that
if
goes
you're a
back
God
to
fearing man, then
right.
also one last point. If you're a God fearing man, you would know that that's beyond you.
I don't believe
Once
in
that
God.
life starts.
Yeah, I don't believe in God. So that's
All right. Well,
so. But
there's a lot of us that do.
Yeah, I understand that. But the thing is that our society isn't built on whether you believe in God or not. That's not how we decide laws. Because if you were to decide laws on
How could you say that when the president puts his hand on the Bible, sir? Every time you go to a courtroom, you put your hand on the Bible. And God we trust is on our monetary system. How
and
could
God
you
we
say
trust and God we trust is on our monetary system.
And on our money,
because
on our actual money, it says in God we
let me
trust.
finish, Bruiser. Let me finish. On God we trust is only on the money because of communism. That's the only reason it's there. Before the 1950s, and God we trust was not on. Hold on, listen. Before the 1950s, and God we trust was not on the money. one nation under God was
Yeah,
not end up
1950s we weren't having
and
abortions
when
either.
hold on, in the 1950s it was only added there because of the communist Red Scare. We thought the communists were all atheists, therefore we had to be Christian. That's the only reason why "In God We Trust" is there, and that's the only reason why one nation under God is in the Pledge of Allegiance. That's the only reason why. It's not because this country makes laws around religion. Because if this country made laws around religion, the First Amendment would not exist.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying, it is there, and it's legitimate in modern day, and AB is happening in modern day. So it's
Right, but that doesn't mean we make laws around
It's
religion,
hypocrisy.
bro. That doesn't mean we make laws around religion.
Right, but
We don't make laws around who believes in God and who doesn't. We don't make laws like that.
but the commander in chief does put his hand on the Bible. There's other things that are related to the Bible.
It's an
Also, and I'm not a
option.
Bible thumper, sir.
It's
I'm
an
not a Bible
but
thumper.
what I'm
I'm
saying
not
is those.
supporting it.
What I'm saying is those things are options. Those are not requirements. That doesn't mean that America's built around that.
I mean, clearly, if we can cite multiple things where the Bible and God is stated, then we're gonna kind of have to go there. Sir.
Like where?
It kind of
Go-
is in some
you-
places, but
The
that's
Constitution doesn't say the Bible at all.
Conversation.
Oh,
That's a
I
big
mean,
conversation.
yeah, that's a big. I mean, we're
Like
kind of
another
moving the
topic.
goalposts with that.
I
Okay,
will.
so we're moving
I
away from
will say
conversation.
this.
Okay, so here's what I would say. Here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say. Because we
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
keep
a
going, sir.
big
because
topic.
the other person, hold on, y'all. Because the other
No, yeah, I
person
agree
brought
with
up
you, sir.
because the other person brought up something that I think was never really addressed. I wish she didn't leave. She brought up the fact that if we're going to go ahead, instead of taking away the right to AB, how come we just don't give teenage boys vasectomies? It'll be the
I
same
don't
exact
have a
thing.
problem. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, if they decide they want that, just like a woman has a choice, if the young man
I-
chooses, yeah, I
No,
mean,
no, no.
I don't have a problem. I don't
This,
agree
no,
with
no.
it,
Hold
but I
on,
don't
wait,
have a
wait,
problem with
wait. No, that's what I'm saying. You're advocating to take away AB rights. I said instead of that, why not just force all boys to have vasectomies? Why not just do that?
I wouldn't force it, just like I wouldn't force. Yeah, I wouldn't force anyone to do anything.
So we shouldn't
I
force
would. I
women
would.
to not have ABs then.
No, I would
See the
force.
disconnect here.
No, no, no. Whoa, 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 guys. Whoa, whoa. Those are two different. That's apples and oranges.
It's not.
I'm not forcing them. Yeah, yeah.
The
What I'm
reason
forcing
why
them to do
the
is
reason
to
why it's
prevent
not
it.
the reason why it's not is because both of them take away bodily autonomy.
No, what by forcing vasectomy, you're forcing him to not have the ability to create.
And if we
I'm
take
forcing
away
someone to not have the ability. Hold on, I'm forcing someone to not have the ability to eliminate. Two
yeah.
different things.
No, it's not two different things because both of them take away bodily autonomy. You're forcing her to do something that she doesn't want to do, just like you're forcing him to do something that he doesn't want to do. So
Well,
why not
bodily
just force kids?
autonomy is
Why not
subjective,
just
sir,
force? It's
because
not. Do you have a right to your own
I
body?
mean, all of us have bodily. All of us are
Exactly. So it's not
restricted in
subjective.
what we can do.
No, no,
But
you're
all
not.
of us are restricted in what we can.
You're restricted
or
to
what
what
we
you
can do.
you're restricted to what you can do to someone else, not to yourself.
That's not true, sir.
You're not restricted
I
to
can.
what
I
you.
can. Yeah, I'll be charged if I decide to put a certain substance in my body. I don't have that right to do it. The government stops it.
Yeah, and that should be taken. That's
They
a law that
control me.
that's a law that should not exist. That's an immoral law. We all know why that law is immoral.
Now, back to my original point. There are other laws in place that restrict us from bodily autonomy.
Yes, they
So
are. They are
let's be
immoral.
clear about that.
Those are immoral laws. You should do whatever you want with your own body.
But everybody's moral compass is not the same, sir.
Agreed.
And
That's why
we
we should
to
have.
acknowledge that.
That's why we have to have. I do agree with you. That's why we have to have a neutral stance. You're saying that because of my morals, she shouldn't be able to do this. Your morals shouldn't matter in that situation. It shouldn't be her decision, right?
What I'm saying is the vasectomy restricts production. The AB restricts elimination. And that's and those are two different things, sir.
And what
That's what I'm saying.
And what I'm saying, and what I'm saying is that you said that you said that everyone has a different standards of morals. I agree with you. So your morals shouldn't supersede hers. She should do whatever she wants with AB or not.
Great conversation. I think it's becoming circular, but I get where you're coming from. I hope you get where I'm coming from, and I just want to teach our women to use some more of a preventive maintenance instead of giving them a way out. And also, I don't know if it's that I'm in New York here, but in certain healthcare insurance companies actually cover this. So I don't want my tax money to actually support that. Also, that's one of the things I disagree with. That becomes a whole nother conversation when our tax money is funding this. And I think if they do have the right to bodily autonomy, our tax money should not be involved with that, especially with the state of our government today. So, yeah, I wanted to just kind of lay that out there too.
Yeah.
That's a lie. That's a lie. There's no tax money that support that funds abortion. That's a lie. And
In New
one,
York, it
you
does.
said
In New
no.
York,
I
it
live
does.
in New York.
Yeah,
I live in New
please,
York.
please,
No,
Where
stop
in New
it.
York
give
do
me
you
my
live?
Stop.
views.
Stop. Stop. I
Relax,
live in New
man.
York.
Relax,
No.
man. You can't.
So anyway, you said multiple times it's not appropriate. It's not appropriate. Who cares what you
The
think is
line's working or no?
appropriate? You also said that somebody else's standards and morals should not apply to you. So you keep saying what's appropriate. What's appropriate to you isn't inappropriate to somebody else. So those standards shouldn't apply to anybody but you.
Okay,
You
but
don't have a uterus. You don't have a uterus. So if you want to take away somebody else's, if you want to take away abortions, then get a vasectomy. It prevents all abortions.
no, why
You won't even have to worry about abortions anymore.
allow her to cut me off?
I'm muting you. That's me. I'm muting you
Why would you just keep
because you keep cutting me
having
off.
a great
I've sat
dialogue?
here and listened to you speak. You
Are you
don't
like
get
a
to tell
mod or
you because you at the end of the day you have boiled this down to morality and what was it that you said that women are being loosey goosey, that is. So it seems like you're more focused on punishing women to have children than the subsequent children born to women who don't
babies,
want them,
man?
which is very, very strange to
I'm
me
saving
because that means no, because it's very strange to me because that means that you would rather a woman who doesn't want a child
women.
have to raise a child that she doesn't want than worry about that child's quality of life, which
That's social services to them.
that's a very strange concept to me. And you
Yes,
also act as if pregnancy itself isn't taxing on a woman's body, as if there isn't something feeding off a woman's body that changes our bone, our biology completely. It's not as if
keep her legs
it's not as
closed.
if you can just say, oh, have this baby and give it up for adoption, because pregnancy in itself is a risky endeavor. So that's not something to
Keep her
ignore.
legs closed.
You don't think about those things. You're only thinking of, oh, women, I want to take away abortion so women stop being so loosey goosey. And it seems more to me that
It
your
promotes disease, man.
your whole goal is to completely what do you call it? You want to punish women, and
It's
that's
spreading
nothing more
disease.
than that.
You're
Hold on.
supporting spreading disease, man.
Wait,
Well,
what spreads
you can
disease?
absolutely use contraceptives. You can absolutely use contraceptives, but that's not 100%. There's
When
no
a woman
100%
uses,
of contraceptive that
let
prevents
me answer the gentleman's question.
that prevents pregnancy.
I'm sorry, Issa. I'm sorry, Issa. Can you pause?
Go
And
ahead.
you're
I'm sorry,
ranting.
Volsi.
No,
Go ahead.
it's
You're
all good.
ranting,
You're
man.
good. No, hold on, chill. Please respect the mods, please. All right. So, Bruiser,
Trying
you
to,
said
but she's
something.
being very rude to me.
I got you. You said something promotes disease. I didn't hear that. I don't know how you got that. What did you mean by that?
What I meant was when a woman uses AB as default, that
Mhm.
means that she clearly decides not to use contraceptive or protection, and that means you're having unprotected, which also spreads disease, as we know, because that's the reason of putting on a rubber, quote unquote, is to not get or contract certain diseases. Not all, because it says it on the package. Hey, it doesn't stop for all diseases. So when we start using that, when a woman uses that as a net to say, well, I can do this and have 3 chop shops and go to the chop shop, then you're also promoting a disease-filled society. So there's other things and layers to it than just the woman's body. So I was
Just
just
like
trying to make
That's what
contraceptive
I.
doesn't prevent disease, it doesn't prevent pregnancy either.
Yeah, that's what I. That's
wasn't
what I
saying that,
disagree
man.
with.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what that's what I disagree with. I don't think if we have a woman has a right to AB, therefore it's promoting diseases, because diseases are gonna spread one way or another. We're human beings, right? That's number one. And number two, like as someone pointed out, contraceptives are not always effective. That's number two. And number three, you can still get diseases through or other ways of SMEX, not just through PP and vajayjay. You can get diseases through mouth to mouth, lip to lip, if y'all know what I'm talking about. You get diseases that way. So it's not like if we have AB rights, therefore you're automatically promoting diseases. You can still get diseases other way.
I mean, being reasonable and practical, guys, what I'm saying is when a person knows that they have the option of AB, then that's less likely of them to use some covering or some form of protection.
You know
And
why
once,
vasectomy?
ma'am, let me finish my
No.
point,
You
please.
know why vasectomies are so much more
Ma'am,
reasonable
ma'am,
than an
please, let's have
abortion?
a fair
It's so much more effective because a man can literally get a woman, more than one woman pregnant in a day. That means you can have thousands of babies. A man can impregnate thousands of women. A woman can't have more than 1 to 2 children in 1 year. So I would say it would be significantly more advantageous, to cover men's purity and worry about men and where they put their thing rather than women.
Thank you for that, ma'am. Can I finish my point? I don't want to start it if you're going to cut me off again. Because I'm patient. I'm willing to wait. Do
Quit
you have
complaining
anything
and
else
go.
to say? No, I'll wait. I'll wait. Do you want to
Go
continue?
ahead. Go ahead.
As I was attempting to say before my rhythm was broken.
Go ahead.
So
I'll
the
go right
point I'm
after you.
trying
Go
to-
ahead.
Thank you. The point I was trying to make is that the woman, based off of pro-choice, is the one who's allowed. Men decide marriage, women decide sex. So the woman makes that decision if she allows that man, unless she's being raped, to put that unprotected thing inside of her. So my point is, if she didn't have the option of AB, then she would not, more than likely, would not all be as promiscuous, or would allow someone to enter her without some wrapping or covering. And that was my point. It's just more of a preventive maintenance thing. I'm not attacking women, ma'am. I don't know why you're so aggressive. It is everybody's
Because you sound uneducated
Hey, Bruiser,
sexually.
I'm
She's
sorry.
very aggressive, sir. She's
No,
very aggressive.
No,
Go ahead.
I
I'm
got you. I got
listening.
you.
Yeah, because this is about women's health. I'm a woman.
Yeah. Can I
Relax.
point something out? No,
No.
please, don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. All right. All right. So, can
You
I point
know
something
what,
out,
guys?
Bruiser?
I'm gonna head out.
No,
I'm
don't
gonna
head out. Don't head
Have
out.
a good evening.
I'm
Have
a
a good evening.
hold on, Bruiser. Don't head out. Don't head out. Crap. He headed out. All right. I was going to point out that his same argument can be used if we just give all men vasectomies, because that's a preventative measure as well. If we give all men vasectomies at 15 and they can't reverse it until they're ready to have children, then he can have sex with as many women as possible, and not get anyone pregnant. The same argument counts if you force men to have vasectomies, but we're not saying to do that. You know what I mean? So the same argument can be tried in reverse. I think that's what you were gonna say, right, Issa?
Yes, but also the craziest part to me is nowhere in any of this argument has the child been any kind of concern.
Yeah.
Has the subsequent child been any kind of concern, as if it isn't an entire life that has to come into the world where it's not wanted, as if foster care is a solid system, as if adoption is a solid system. The best thing to do for that child, if a mother doesn't want to raise a child and a father doesn't want it, you're not bringing that child into a good situation that's going to build anything healthy. That I feel sorry for a child who has to come into a situation like that. And for me personally, I say this all the time. Had I been AB'd, if my mom AB'd me, I wouldn't care because I wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't exist. Exactly. I wouldn't exist. Exactly. Give me 1 second. All right. Issa, Jess, go ahead and come on up. Because that is incorrect. Native Americans actually don't have their own land. It's actually leased to the government. They own it in trust, and that shouldn't exist. So Native Americans should also get reparations. But go ahead and come on up, and we can talk more about reparations. Curry, you've been in the comments over and over, like responding, crashing out, etc., etc. I do not chat to the comments, so go ahead and come on up if you disagree with something. I've already invited you several times. For anyone who's watching, I do have a subscription goal. Go ahead and join the cult. Go ahead and join my cult. Go ahead and it's only $2.99 a month. You get to see my handsome face. Go ahead and join me. We have 24K likes already. 30 people in here. I may end it soon. Give me 1 second. One person is requesting up. Wolf, I know you've been sitting there patiently. Did you want to add anything else? Wolf, you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
Basically, I'll wrap everything up real quickly because I know it's probably gonna be a little bit longer. When it comes to like anything that's like government funded, I believe the people who run through the money and that receive anything like free college and free healthcare, they should be on a fixed income to prevent them from getting rich from it. That's the only problem I have when it comes to the free college, because I see that there's a lot of professors out there that basically, I know at least 3 people who have degrees that no jobs because the professor screwed them.
Well, when it comes
The
to
abortion.
when it comes to free college, is just like how we do it before Ronald Reagan screwed everything. Just the government funds college. That's really it. Like how they do over in the UK, how they do over in like
Yeah, I agree with
Germany,
that.
stuff like
But
that.
there's like a lot of like weird college courses that people can go and take. I feel like college is meant like all right. So you know how I see like the prison system as basically slave system, right? 13th Amendment. I see college as a form of indentured servitude where you go and you get like the worst study hours, basically prefer you for overtime work. You collect a large amount of debt that you can't possibly pay back by a company or organization that's funded by a company so that you can be sold off to them to work for them for X amount of years to pay off the debt that you collected so that you can live the life that you were conditioned to do in college. I consider it as a form of indentured servitude from the way it's set up. So as far as it goes for like how the college system's set, I feel like if you're gonna, I believe I don't see it as a school or educational position. Like I think it's just there to give people debt so they have no choice but to be wage slaves. And like that's usually been my experience every time I looked at any actual college and went to any actual organization. So, but
All
yeah, I
right,
feel like
so
there needs to be some type of education. It needs to be actual real education. Like people need to learn their laws, they need to learn their rights, they need to learn that basic stuff. But they should learn that before they get to college, because it's like I
let
said,
me
not
let
many
me
people even know.
yeah let me ask you a question. Do you think business and health are useless things to learn?
No, I don't.
Okay, those are the most popular college degrees. So people are actually getting useful degrees. It's not the degrees that's the problem.
But a lot of that stuff you can learn without even going into college before you go to college. And a lot of the people who go into the same trade end up getting paid more money with like GEDs over college degrees.
I do
Like
agree
I
that
agree
we
that
can
college.
reform. I do agree that we can reform our education system. I personally believe that every high school should operate the way there's a high school in my city that I grew up in, where every student that graduate with some sort of trade. I think every single high school in America should be that, especially a high school that were in red line areas. I think every single student in every single high school should graduate with some sort of trade, either an LPN or a welder or an electrician or a truck driver or a plumber. Everyone should graduate with some sort of trade in their hand for every single college, especially in areas that were redlined in black neighborhoods. That should be the first place where it happened. As a matter of fact, that I think that would make less people go to college because they don't have to anymore. But the people who do want to become doctors, who do want to become lawyers, who do want to become engineers, who do want to become bankers, or just want to become historians, or et cetera, et cetera. Those people can still go to college if they want. You see what I'm saying? But if a guy, if a a guy or girl or anyone like graduates college with like a plumbing certification or a welding certification or an HVAC certification or anything like that, and they choose to forego college and live their life, that's cool. You see what I'm saying? But I don't think the issue with people not finding jobs is not because they're getting useless degrees. I think it's just because of oversaturation.
We're gonna stay on this topic, but tell me what you think about like the American school education system, like in general.
The education system in America was the issue with it. I think what crashed it was No Child Left Behind, because people just started passing students even though they didn't have the literacy rate. I do think we have a literacy crisis in our country, but that crisis is based on reactionary politics. What I mean by that is that a lot of people in this country actually can recite the words on the page, right? They can look at each word and recite the word, but they don't understand what they're actually reading. That's because many of us are. I think in our society, especially in education, the crisis that's happening is reactionaryism, basically reactionism. We have a problem with people don't actually comprehend things; they just react to it, and that's the core issue
All right,
of literacy in this country. Um,
I got two things I gotta talk about now on that one. For
Go
the
ahead.
reactionaryism, like I study many religions and I prefer religion over spirituality. And one of the things I learned from Taoism is that there's 3 types of people in the world. There's animals, humans, and spiritual people. And studying multiple religions got me to fully understand what an animalistic person is. A lot of people out there can't even comprehend the words that come out of their mouth. They're like dogs that walk up to your door, scratch on the door, bark so that you can open up and give them a bacon and go to the next neighbor's door. They don't know what bark means. They don't know how bacon works. They just make the sound because they want to have the reaction. Like they're not conscious of the words that are coming out of their mouth. Like, for instance, neurodivergent and neurotypical. Like, these are basic English words that everybody uses, but whenever I talk to somebody else about it, it's neural, which means brain, typical, which basically means basic, and divergent, meaning different from basic. Like, a lot of people don't even hear the words that are coming out of their mouth when they say it, so they feel like they're smart when they say it. I had an argument with one person over like the 10 dimensions of string theory. He was talking about the 12 dimensions of spirituality. He didn't even know what he was talking about. He just heard something smart and just argued
Regurgitated
about
it.
something that he heard about. Right. They hear sounds and then they say those sounds because they want to have a reaction to what they're hearing, but they don't really know what they're saying.
Yeah,
And a lot of
exactly.
people are like that because they don't really have a lot of comprehension to basically route no cause and effect. Now, I think a lot of this does come with the school system, but the school system, from what I understood or what I learned from way back when, was a fabricated thing. Originally, you only went to school for 2 days of the week. Or 1 day of the week. There's Sunday school. And then a president came up and said, we don't need a country of thinkers, we need a country of workers. And that's when they made the Monday through Friday school. And originally the Monday through Friday school was designed to represent like the work week. You wake up, you have breakfast, you go to work / school, you hear the sound of a bell, you go to recess / break, you hear the sound of a bell again, you go back to work, you hear the bell, you come back home. It was conditioning us back to our basic reflexive training mechanisms in our earliest, most developmental stages so that we can be conditioned to respond to sounds just like animals. And then I feel like the same thing kind of happened a little bit further in high school, but it was expanded a little bit more further out so that we can actually fit our direction because there's nothing more dangerous than putting the wrong person in the wrong place.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, here's the thing. Yeah, schools were built around like factory workers, right? The problem, the
factory
issue,
workers, prison,
right?
and other places.
And
It
other places,
changes
right?
each
So,
turn. Like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
other
So,
places I know in upper classes
right,
that
right.
actually learn their taxes.
I
before they
got you. I got you. I got
Right,
you.
I'm sorry.
The issue, that with schools, with them being around, built around factories, right? That is true, and I think that should change. However, the fact that we only had 1 day of school a week was a problem because the majority of the country could not read, and that was a problem. All right, you do not want to live in a country where the majority of people cannot read. That'll be bad for society. You see what I'm saying? And you
I
don't want to
get
live in
you.
a,
Like,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's why,
no,
like,
I know. Like, let me re-detail what was going on. Back when they had Sunday school, that's pretty much what they taught them was how to read. And you're right, a lot of people were uneducated on a lot of stuff back then. And it was even worse for the other people who weren't allowed in Sunday school because they weren't part of the religion. Like you did that part. And I do understand that education did need to go further and it needed to be a standardized thing for everybody to know. But the guy, when he said it, he said that teach them everything about nothing. Like, understand, like, a lot of the stuff that we know today, like the stuff we learned in school, we're not using today. Like, we learned a lot of things in school that we will never, like, how many people here have used mitochondria within the last 10 years? Yeah, we know it's the powerhouse of the cell. Like, there's a lot of things that we learned in school that were completely useless just to take up time. And there's plenty of like videos out there with people who have like one of them was a student flipping out because all the teacher's job is to hand out a state issued packet for them to read.
We're
And
a
that was it.
little off topic, bro. We're just a little off topic. Let,
Right.
let me ask you a question. You really
Yeah,
think that?
I'll end it
Yeah,
then.
I actually do think that learning the basics of chemistry and stuff like that is important. Because it's like we need to know how science and things work. You see what I'm saying? So like if we like learning about the mitochondria as the powerhouse of the cell, I still remember that to this day, right? I think that's like right now I'm not a chemist, right? But I think that was still important to know because if I didn't know that, I also wouldn't understand anything about, like evolution or like biology or anything like that. Those things are important to know because it's like if we don't know those things, it lays a basis of knowledge, right? If we don't know those things, we probably will think that sugar and chemicals and proteins are just ghosts or something like that. We have to actually have a basis of
Right,
knowledge.
the
So I
idiocracy,
do get it. Yeah.
like the movie with the idiocracy. But if you look at like a lot of the curriculum that they're teaching now, like it's not getting easier to solve the problems. They're adding extra steps. They're making it difficult.
Right. I get
Like
it.
and they're putting in other stuff that's not needed, other stuff that's not used. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, like a lot of the stuff that I know, I learned firsthand experience. They're it's
I got you.
just
All right.
unheaded.
Wolf, I do got to get to Marion because they've been up here and very very patient. Did you have any last thing for me?
Basically, I see that from elementary school to high school to college is just a form of conditioning people so that they can be like loyal sheep in front of the manager that's the shepherd of a company in the business. And
All right. To Marion, how's it going?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Are you over 18 and do you disagree with anything I have on the board?
Yes, and well, I mean, I ain't know it was like a disagree, but I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay, great. We can go ahead and talk about it. Issa, you still there?
I'm here.
All right. Appreciate you being here, of course. All right. I'm going to go ahead and try to put up another gift goal. But I'm sorry. I think I said your name wrong. Is it Tamarian or Tamiran?
Tamiran.
Tamiran. I apologize for mispronouncing your name. All right.
No, you good, man.
All right, Tamiran. What do you disagree with? I put 15 minutes on the clock. What do you disagree with, or think is a bad thing?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I'll just go ahead and say, pretty much the whole list. Um, so like, for example, 1, 2, uh, 5, and I guess you're gonna have to throw in 6. Yeah, my main question is, who's gonna pay for it?
Taxes, like how it's paid for everywhere else.
All right, so why? Why should the people do that?
Because it's better for society.
Says who?
Says every society that does these certain things, and we see that they live happier and better.
We pay taxes now, and people are actually more miserable, and things are declining.
Right, because we don't afford certain things that other societies do afford.
What you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that we're paying taxes for things, but we're not getting the benefit from our taxes. Like, for example, we're actually paying for universal health care, and we're just not getting it. You know what I'm saying? So we have like I think about a quarter of people in the United States that can't afford their health bills, and the number one reason why people go bankrupt or have to file for bankruptcy is because of medical bills. You know what I'm saying? So that's a very terrible thing. And not only that, we spend more on healthcare in this country, and we don't have universal health care. We spend more per capita in this country, and we're unhealthier. We have less access to health care, and excuse me, we spend more in this country per capita on health care, but we don't have good access to it. We don't have good outcomes in our healthcare system, and it's just a system that basically is built for profit. You know what I'm saying? It's an endless cycle. You feel me? From what I'm saying? So we're paying for something that we're actually not receiving.
Okay, and to me, that's the issue. We're already doing this, and we're not receiving the benefits. So, and the reason I say that is because I believe in self accountability. So, for example, in universal healthcare, I don't believe it because as a individual, I supposed to be making healthier choices. And from my experience, knows from people, when people have a safety net, like you say, the government have universal health, they tend to abuse it, and they tend to was like, well, I'm gonna just do whatever and take advantage of the system. So you will create a lot of that going on. So yeah, that's why, like for universal healthcare, I will promote and say focus more on your individual health to where you're eating healthier. You probably check it up, do your regular checkups. But the thing is, we have too much junk food that's promoted everywhere. So of course, if you constantly taking that in, and drugs or whatever the case may be, you're taking that in, you're increasing your risk of having issues. So if you just do universal haircut, you just get more people doing bad things.
All right. The reason why I think that's untrue. The reason why I think that is untrue is because other countries have universal health care, but they don't have our health problems. What's the difference between them and us?
a lot of countries don't promote a lot of fast food, don't and they don't put a lot of the pesticide and all the other stuff that's in their food. They don't have that like we do
Okay,
here.
yeah, yeah. Oh, actually, I do agree with you there. We do promote you know, a lot of basically toxic eating. We promote a lot of fast food. That is a thing, and not only that, there's a lot of sugar in our food because that's actually the thing that causes obesity. Is sugar. It's
Right.
not trans fat. It's actually the sugar. You know what I'm saying? Because sugar is in everything, even the salt, which is kind of crazy, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, sure. I do agree with you there that we can do something with our food industry, right? Removing the sugar, removing certain dyes and pesticides and things like that to make sure we're a healthier population, right? We can do that.
Right.
But like if we do that and we also do universal health care, we'll have a much healthier society because then people would go to the hospital more to as a preventative measure. Like one of the things that costs a lot in our country is the lack of prevention, lack of preventative care, meaning that we know that there's something wrong with us, right? But we don't go to the hospital check it out. Why? It's too expensive. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So if we didn't have that, we would prevent a lot of the issues, a lot of the ailments that do get expensive in this country. So universal health care will promote preventative care, which means a lot of the issues that do cause a lot of the health costs in our countries would decrease. And if we do what you're saying, where we look at the food industry and stop promoting fast food, stop putting sugar in everything that causes obesity, and encourage exercise and fitness and everything like that, we would see the healthcare goes down. We can walk and chew gum. You know what I'm saying? But I think doing one without the other is just gives us half of the results.
Yeah, okay, I hear you. And I mean, again, like I said, we both established we agree on the the bad stuff in the food. But I think where we're still kind of different from. So the point you actually just brought up, the reason why a lot of people don't go is because they can't afford it, and that's kind of my argument. If we didn't pay so much in taxes and we kept that money in our pocket, that extra money we can have in our pocket to go afford those things. So that's actually my argument. So that's the reason why I don't believe in paying as much tax. I really don't want to pay any taxes, but I would meet and settle to like a 10% across the board um, to the thing. But
That wouldn't be
universal
enough for
haircut.
everybody, bro.
What you mean? Enough for what?
If we did 10% across the board, that wouldn't be enough for the services that the government is supposed to provide.
What services do they supposed to provide?
The road,
Or do
the
you think?
mail, military.
Yeah, that's enough. Because they'll be able. Because really the main thing and why I believe they should do is infrastructure, education. For K through 12 education and safety.
Yeah,
So,
10% tax on
so
everybody wouldn't be enough to do that. That's why we
oh
have
no, I think
that's why we
that's
have
that's
progressive
plenty.
tax.
That's plenty. But again, that work. So, of course, I travel. I drive trucks. So I go city to city and state to state, and I'm constantly seeing potholes, and I'm constantly seeing infrastructure and things being taken so long to take. So while we're already paying high taxes, so we're already doing that, and there's still an issue on that. So,
Yeah,
clearly
because we
that this
actually don't fund infrastructure. Like
right,
the way the government
right,
like pays
it's
for stuff is
managed.
that right. The way the government actually pays for stuff is that it gets earmarked. Like the Congress has to actually push the funding into funding those things, and
Right.
constantly all the time Congress doesn't do it.
Okay, so I mean, and that's I mean, again, those are still my arguments that push me to not to be against paying so much taxes because the government is funding it. Now, one thing I like what Trump is trying to do, he's trying to just exchange internal revenue service to external revenue service about with the tariffs. So now you have income. You're taxing instead of taxing the citizens, you're taxing the countries to be able to fund these things. So
But a
that is
tariff is a
something that
tax on the citizens, not the country.
what you mean tax on the citizen.
Like when companies pay tariffs, they pass that cost off to us. The other country's
Yeah,
not
if you
paying
buy the
that.
product, if you buy the product,
Yeah, the other
that's why you
country's
buy.
not. Yeah, the other country's
If you
not
buy,
paying that.
no, no. So okay, let me ask you this then. If you believe that, are you saying that
It's
the
not what
the
I
chair
believe.
like
That's what a tariff is.
no, no, so let me ask you this. So if you believe that, if China is increased their tariffs, are you saying Chinese are paying that tariff?
Yeah,
Are paying that cost?
they're paying it.
So why are they so why would China do it?
Yeah, it's basically retaliatory because like if something costs more to get it from another country, they'll just go somewhere like countries that will encourage like a business to go somewhere else.
Right. So it's like apply here. So if we're because again every country was tariffing us, but we wasn't tariffing them.
Yeah,
So
we were.
now ever since Trump. No. That's why Trump put the reciprocal tariffs on there. So now you see more companies already committed to invest into the country now.
Right.
So
The thing is you're missing a lot. No, number one, we did have tariffs on other countries, and countries did have tariff on us, but the tariffs were not at the same amount. Countries weren't tariffing us 35%. That wasn't happening. But and the second thing is that a lot of those same companies, they outsource a lot of their products, so they have to buy from outside of America in order to get it in. Which is why like a lot of those companies that you're talking about, like I think was it GM or Chevy the other day? They just announced massive layoffs because it's gonna be more expensive to get the products that they need because a lot of things are assembled in America. They're not made in America. They're assembled here. You see what I'm saying? So like a lot of these companies actually announce layoffs because they're not going to be able to afford to pay all those people. Those tariffs are actually worse. Like every economist will tell you that tariffs are actually bad. Some countries do have to put tariffs because they need a domestic, industry, of course. So some countries will put tariffs on certain things, but they're not going to be the type of tariffs that Trump's are putting on. Trump's ideas is completely insane. The type of tariffs that he's putting on other countries were not the tariffs that they were putting on us. He's putting like 50% on countries that had a 10% tariff on us. That's nonsense.
No, when I looked at the chart, he pretty much did half of what they was doing to us. I got to go back
He
to the chart.
wasn't, bro. Like he's putting so-called reciprocal tariffs that are astronomical. They weren't putting those type of tariffs on us.
No, I'm saying, did you see the chart? Because when you looked at the chart that he showed,
his is way.
none of the numbers that he put on that chart was more than what the other country was tearing from us.
Yeah, he did. Let me bring
pull
that
it
up.
Yeah, pull it up. The only ones I know he about to increase China's tonight. That's the only one that I know for sure. That's going crazy.
The fact is, though, we don't manufacture any goods, so
No,
therefore,
right, because the previous presidents have sold off our manufacturing jobs. So again, that's why. So already 2 months in, Trump already has $7 trillion committed
bruh,
to. Hyundai has committed. Honda.
we don't have the resources, bro. It's not we rely on trade in this country, largely on trade. The amount of stuff we actually have here to manufacture things is limited. So we rely heavily on trade. And when you start doing these tis for tat tariffs, you don't achieve nothing in that area.
None of this achieves anything. That's what I'm saying. Like none of this achieves anything. You know what I'm saying? Lesotho did not have a 50% tariff on us. Like this is. None of this is for any reason at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think China had a 34% tariff on us either. Like, these are tariffs that he's putting on places for, like, literally no reason. Just to, like, kind of be petty. I think he doesn't really understand what a tariff is. Trump thinks that when you tariff a country, that country's paying it. And he's actually said that many times, or alluded to that many times already. And that's not how that works. Also,
no, he's running the
commitments that you're saying, those companies already were going to make those commitments. Like those were already a thing that was going to happen. So it's not like these are like brand new these are brand new commitments that they're doing just because Trump said so.
So some of them countries or businesses are already admitted they're coming here to avoid the tariffs.
Which
Ford
one?
just actually.
Matt,
Apple, Apple,
we're kind of way off topic because this started off with universal healthcare.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Because I was trying to just get to the point where I like
Here's
this idea.
here's my thing about all right, but like you understand what I'm you understand universal health care, right? What was the other thing that you were saying about not wanting to? Because you said that you don't want to pay for others, but the thing is, under universal health care, you're gonna get it as well. It's not that you're paying for something that you're not gonna receive, and you're also gonna receive it.
But I want to be responsible for myself and my family.
You can still be responsible for yourself and your family. You just have universal health care.
But if I'm saying, if I'm paying into taxes, that means money that I'm working hard for is going towards somebody who could be taking advantage of it, and I don't want that.
But that's
why should anybody go into debt, Justice? Or why should anybody go into debt they'll never pay for the rest of their life just to survive?
That's based on their decisions.
No, it's not. You don't get.
I got diagnosed with cancer in 2023.
How did she decide to get cancer?
I went into remission. Hang on. I went into remission. I went into remission last year. I was middle class. I worked in corporate America. I went through all of my savings, and I have nothing now. I had to move back in with my father. I have debt that and I was paying my own insurance. I have debt that I will never pay down for the rest of my life, just because I had cancer, and that was no fault of mine.
Yeah, situations like that is why we promote universal health care.
I got you. So to answer your question, like I said, sorry to hear that. Now, I do believe that's the issue with the hospital, because I do believe they take advantage of the sick. So I think that's an issue. But I don't believe paying into healthcare will solve the issue. I believe that hospitals shouldn't be. This is my thing. Hospitals should put their prices up front. That's the thing. They can charge because they don't put their price. Like, it's not a menu of things to do at a hospital, like what they charging for surgery or whatever the case may be. So, but yeah, I don't believe in. I believe that's the issue with the hospital in the
Am I
pharmaceutical
supposed to
But the thing is
elect which surgeries I have and choose like off of a menu with prices, what surgeries I can afford and not afford, and what treatments I can afford and not afford, and choose between only what I can afford?
Yeah, I mean, like what you're saying to Myron is kind of ridiculous, because like if I get appendicitis and I need an epidectomy, are you saying that I should go on a hospital board to see which hospital is doing the epidectomy for cheaper? That's going to be a problem, because if there's a hospital doing an epidectomy for $5, I probably don't want to go there.
Don't go there. You
Right.
gotta go to one that's.
Yeah, so
Man,
go
the
to
fact
one
of the
that's
matter-
worth. I'm sorry, Kat. Give me a second. So I should probably go to the one that's gonna be doing it for $10,000, right? But I can't afford that, so my appendix is gonna burst.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, fair and equal capitalism is not what's happening, and the wealth and all the stuff is not being distributed in the right areas to do anything for anybody. So, these are solutions to these problems. The things that are on the board are solutions to these problems, but the problem is the fair distribution of wealth and where the money goes. And right now it sits in the largest hands of the biggest corporations and the people with the most money. And so, and all that money could be going to other areas to make American life more easier, more affordable, and more helpful. And so, you have something like, let's take the military budget. It's huge. You can cut that by 3 million. You know what I mean? Actually, 3 billion, and because it's so huge, you can cut that and still be number one in military spending, which is crazy. But America has triple times the amount invested into its military budget, instead of distributing that wealth to areas that need improvement, that need to have the right type of money going to them. So universal healthcare in America is possible, but it's not possible if capitalism has no regulations and checks and balances. So that is the savagery within capitalism that everybody is expected to be indoctrinated and to play along with, because it's a game that we're all told that we have to play. But that's not, the game's up when all society loses its moral compass and people don't care about people no more. They only care about the competition, the savagery of capitalism. Then there's no morality in that no more. So you understand the fair distribution of wealth, where things go, is very important. And how it helps people in this country flourish and thrive is very important. And when you start trying to like Trump, you mentioned Trump and his tariffs, this kind of stuff, it gets in the way, because he's only doing the realtor grift. He's doing the realtor hustle, the scam that a realtors always do. They buy when the market's real low. So what do? As a person who's in politics and you're the president, you crash the markets so that you can buy very, very low. If you look at this guy, he's such a savage. In Gaza, with all that destruction going on, he's capitalizing off of real estate. How savage is that? How colonizer is that? You understand when you get into like globalism and capitalist globalism and the colonizer's effort to just totally just conquer? And so it's expansionism at the cost of human decency and human life, and what's fair. And it won't even get to the systematic racism and the fair distribution of wealth and the discriminatory practices of the healthcare system within big pharma and all these other corporations that work within the healthcare system that don't distribute healthcare the correct way at all, or the VA and how their healthcare is just dumb and my mom's a vet, how their healthcare is just messed up. I'm saying a lot of facts.
Stupid, bro. Yeah, their healthcare is ridiculous. But just to interrupt for a little bit, Caddy, when it comes to the military budget, it gets even worse than that. You can cut 200 to 300 billion, and you will still have the biggest one. You'll still have the biggest one. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I was saying before. We are paying for universal healthcare. We're just not getting it now. Tamiron, you're saying that there are other people. Appreciate that. Appreciate you joining. Appreciate you joining that. Tired. All right. So, Tamiron, you said that there are other people that could be taking advantage of the universal healthcare system. I don't know how that would be the case, because at the end of the day, we all are going to be able to receive healthcare no matter what. What do you mean that there'll be people taking advantage of it? What's the issue?
Yeah, so like I said, again, when people know they have a safety net, they tend to be careless and tend to make poor decisions. So what I mean by that is, again, they wouldn't be so focused on their health because I got universal health care. So if something was to happen, they just relying on people versus relying on the tax dollars versus let me be proactive and let me knowing that it's all on me, that I have to make better health decisions. I have to make sure I'm exercising, or I have to make sure that I'm keeping up with that. So that's what I'm saying.
The problem with your analysis there, Tamiron, is that we don't have universal health care now, and they're not doing what you're saying.
Also, I want an example of where in the world where that there is universal health care that is true. I would like to see where that is true, because that's not true anywhere. Preventative medicine literally has had better outcomes than any other measure.
Yeah, when you look at other countries that have universal health care, all over Europe, all over Asia, none of them do what you're saying. So it's like, what is going on with America? Do you think Americans are just exceptionally more selfish? I don't get it.
Yeah, no. So it's not necessarily healthcare, but government assistance. So,
but the thing is, I'm sorry, I just got to interrupt one more time.
Okay.
So what's the difference between America and other countries that also have this type of assistance? Because everywhere else has assistance, better assistance than we do, and none of them are doing what you're saying. So what's the difference with America? Are we just exceptionally more stupider? I don't get it.
Yeah,
There's
no,
gotta be
that's
a
not what I'm
difference.
saying. What I'm saying is, yeah. So what I'm saying is, with government assistance, like I said, I grew up around people taking advantage of SNAP, taking advantage of Section 8. I grew up around that, so I've seen people like take advantage of government assistance here.
But
So
those are
and then
anecdotes.
no, that's not anecdotal.
But okay,
'Cause like,
well, you know what's not an anecdote? Do you know the percentage of people who work full-time jobs that are on government assistance? Do you know?
no, I don't.
It's over
But I'm pretty
80%.
sure.
It's
Yeah,
over
but I'm pretty sure.
80%. So if those people are working full-time and they still don't make enough to collect, that they have to collect government assistance, are you saying that they're taking advantage?
No, that's
Because
not what
none
I'm
of that
saying.
is still, because people who are on government assistance and SNAP, that's not enough to live on still.
Right. So that's my whole point by paying less in taxes and keeping more of the money in your pocket.
We already paid a lot of little in taxes. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
We don't pay that much in
30%. Some
taxes.
people 20, 30%. some people about 20 about 15 to 20% people are paying at their check annually.
I don't want to pay less in taxes. I want my money to be better allocated.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say as well.
Correct.
Like,
Can I,
cause,
hi,
hey,
can I
hey,
jump in real quick?
yeah, no problem. Just give me 1 second, okay? But yeah, what I was gonna say is, and y'all gonna be the last guest, all right, y'all. I'm gonna do this probably for like another 30 minutes, and then we're gonna get out of here. Hey, Kay, how's it going? But yeah, I was going to say, hey, I was going to say that when it comes to our taxes, we're paying on the marginal rate. It's not like, when you make a certain amount, they're taking 30% entirely out of your check. It's only 30% over a certain amount. Like, that's how the taxes work. You see what I'm saying? And just like how Issa said, I want it to be better allocated. If everyone had health care and I knew everyone there was no homelessness, let's say my taxes were 50%. I don't see how that would be a problem because we don't have people homeless, meaning crime is down, and everybody's gonna have health care, which means that everyone's healthy. So what would be the issue there? We have a healthy and not homeless society. How's that bad? I'm gonna get a drink real quick. Go ahead, nurse. I'm sorry, Tamara. Go ahead. Tamara, go ahead and reply, and then it's gonna be nurse next because she has something to say.
Okay.
All right. I'm like, how do you want me to mod while you were gone?
Yeah, I just gotta get some.
After
Just make sure no one talks over each other. Go ahead and let Myron have his 30 seconds, and then nurse has something to say. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah. So, but yeah, to the point, you're saying, or he's saying that paying, reallocating to free housing and universal health care. I mean, again, I at the end of the day, I would rather that my money stay in my pocket to better my family, and if more people be more held accountable for their own actions. So, for an example, if I'm like I said, on average, I'm probably paying out 15 to 18,000 in taxes annually. So, meaning if I would have kept, that's more money I can put into my children's college fund. There's more money I can put into I can put into building my own business. That's more into I can do for me in building a legacy. So, and because I'm business minded. So with that being said, the government already don't do good with our money. There's already been plenty waste and fraud. So it just don't make sense to me to trust them with the money.
I think your
if they
children
already
should be able to go to college for free.
I don't think so. Because I don't think anybody's service or work should be done for free.
Wait, whose services is being done for free?
He said, I think that kids should be able to go to college. I think people should be able to go to college for free. Just like I think there should be universal health care.
Yeah, we should. There should be free college. I don't see the problem with that.
Because that benefits the whole of society. That's what it's all about.
Benefiting all.
Yeah, I just believe as adults, you make a decision. So I don't believe in free education because for one, you don't have to go to college to have to live a decent lifestyle. Again, it's based on your decision, what you choose to do.
Actually, Tamara, I'm sorry. Can you pause real quick for me? Did nurse get to go?
No, she did. She did. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No problem. Nurse, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead,
Everyone, good evening, host. I just wanted to jump in real quick, and I was scrolling by your live, and you guys were talking about healthcare. Obviously, I'm in the business of healthcare 20 plus years, and I've been a nurse for a very long time. I also work for Medicaid as well, just doing some medical necessity assessments for those that can't afford regular commercial insurance. And so so what I know from my day-to-day work and with the population that I work with, nobody wants to be ill. Nobody wants to have me come into their home, do a medical necessity assessment so that they can have certain type of Medicaid services. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to have a stroke and half of their body is paralyzed. Nobody wants that. Sure, some things are personal choice. If you smoke, you increase your risk for cancer and heart disease. all of the things. Yes, you can do some things to litigate your damage to your own body, but for the most part, that's not the case. Your tax dollars pay for Medicaid anyway. It does. And then there's nothing that you can do about it. The 10 cents, 15 cents per paycheck that you pay, and the little 0.002% that goes to fund Medicaid for your state, there's nothing you can do about it. You will never get that 2 cents back. But it helps a lot of people who have no access to health care. It helps a lot of people who use our emergency room like a doctor's office. If I can get people to get preventative care services at no charge for free, I can keep them alive. I can keep them out of the emergency room. You have no idea how many people show up in my emergency room, because I also work for the county hospital, show up in the emergency room because they've run out of blood pressure medication, or because they have run out of insulin, or because they have run out of cholesterol medication. If I can provide preventative services outside of the hospital, that's cheaper for the system and that's better for the patient. No one wants to sit in an emergency room for 4 to 5 hours because their blood pressure spikes, when I can manage you outside of the hospital in an outpatient setting where you're getting a physical for free, where you're getting the medical attention that you need. That, to me, is what universal health care does. It allows those who do not have access to preventative services to get access to preventative services, so they don't show up at the hospital costing thousands of dollars for things that I can prevent. So they don't show up to the hospital out with out of control blood sugars, when I could prevent that and prevent the damage to your body if I can manage you outpatient, if I could see you biannually for a checkup and help you get the help that you need and keep you out of the hospital. Contrary to most people's belief, no, we do not want you at the hospital. Do not. Because if we can manage you outpatient, it's cheaper on the system and it keeps costs lower if I can manage you outpatient versus bringing you inpatient and keeping you in the hospital. People want to come for their annual physicals. They just can't pay for it. People want to get their blood pressure medication, which is literally cents on the dollar. I did drug procurement for years for my specialty pharmacy. I want to be able to provide that care on an outpatient basis by expanding Medicaid and be able to provide that to anybody who wants the service. Just because there's a service in place does not mean that people are going to use it. You can't bring a horse to the water. You can't make them drink. I can't make you exercise, honey. I cannot make you eat that salad. I cannot make you not take a bite of hamburger. I can't make you do none of those things. I can provide you the information. It's on you to take care of your health. So your thought about people abuse, I don't know how you can abuse healthcare. I don't know how that works. And you're talking to somebody who has been in healthcare for an extremely long time. I worked on the business side of healthcare, working for the largest payers in this country, and I'm also a clinician. So I don't understand how somebody can abuse the healthcare system in the way that you're saying. Not gonna happen. So I would love to see that everybody in this country at least be able to get preventative care services done, because there's so much more things that we can stop and save and help if I can catch it early and I can keep you out the hospital. That is my number one goal. Number one goal is to keep you out the hospital. Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
I appreciate you, Nurse AJ. You make so much sense. You make a lot of sense. That's exactly what I've heard from healthcare providers as well. Thank you so much, Nurse. Kay, I know you've been patient. you had anything? And then I'm gonna get to Decoy, and then y'all. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go finish.
Yeah, I was gonna say after UK, then we're gonna go ahead to Decoy. We'll probably dialogue for about maybe another 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here because I've been sitting here for the past 4 hours, and my booty falling asleep, y'all.
I can't
It's my booty falling asleep. All right. Go ahead, Kay.
Not I came late.
Yeah, you came
Not
kind
I'm
of late.
like not
It's all good.
not me on CP time. uh anyway, um I don't see like y'all were saying, I don't see anything wrong with universal health care. To be quite honest. Um Universal health care, I just think healthcare healthcare is a need that everyone needs, right? So if so we're in a so as a country, why would we not want our citizens to have access to healthcare if they need it? um that's just kind of how I think about it. Like it just I'm like to me it just makes sense. If your taxes are going to go to anything, it would make sense for my taxes to go to providing health care for people, for not only my family but for other people's families. That I'm like I would be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, exactly. Same. How about you, Decoy? Are you there?
Hello.
How's it going, Decoy? Are you over 18, and do you disagree with something I have on the board?
Yeah, I'm 34, and I think most of the issues that you have listed on the prompt here, there's a lot of gray area there. It's hard to be hard one way or the other. So for me, I think we should have stuff like universal health care. The problem is that really since World War II, there's been an agenda to suck all the money out of this country, destroy the middle class. I mean, a lot of the stuff that you guys are talking about, like having universal health, we could have been paying for that. But we've been sending money for God knows what and doing regime changes and all kinds of crazy shit. So I'm not necessarily, and I lean more conservative, right? But I'm not necessarily against something like universal health care because
I know many conservatives are not.
Yeah,
Many conservatives would benefit from it too. I don't see. This is not like, to me, healthcare should not be a political issue. It should be this. We should be wanting to do what's right for our citizens.
Exactly.
Issue.
Same. Agreed. But all right, I think everybody was able to say their opinion. Let's dialogue for at least let's do for another 15, 20 minutes.
Was Decoy finished though?
Oh yeah, Decoy didn't finish. Decoy,
I'm
go ahead.
gonna
I'm sorry.
run, you guys. I'm gonna run. Have a good one.
Are you gonna get out of here? Okay, no problem. I appreciate you being up here, Decoy.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for coming.
All right, guys. So
Hey,
yeah,
so
we can dialogue for a few
well,
more minutes.
I'm
We're gonna. I'm sorry, nurse. I'm just finish this one. All right, we're gonna try not to jump to Marion because I think he's the only one who's against it. Probably against a lot of other things that I have on the board as well that we didn't get to. And nurse, I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, what I wanted to add to with universal health care, and I think that the reason why a lot of people may be against it is because they feel like their commercial insurance that they buy through their employer cannot exist any longer. And they believe that we're just going to be in this big system of long lines and having to wait to get things. That is not the case. Back when I was on the business side, I had a client in the UK. They have a universal healthcare program, and they also have commercial insurance as well. Both can exist at the same time. They can.
And they can.
And so I think a lot of people kind of get it confused and think that the commercial part will completely go away. You can't buy extra coverage if you want or whatever the situation. And that's just simply untrue. Just simply untrue.
It is untrue. I'm like, it is so funny to me because y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but in countries that have universal health care, don't they also offer commercial insurance as well? I don't think there's a country that offers universal health care that doesn't also have commercial insurance as an option.
That's
Am
true.
I wrong in that assessment?
No, you're absolutely right. I'll tell you, for example, My client over in the UK, my client was a company called insurance company called Bupa, and that's BUPA. They're a commercial insurer, just like we have here, but there's also universal healthcare that exists in that country. We also ran commercial plans in Canada as well, and they also have a universal product. So there's it both can exist. It's more on the model of probably like a Medicare for all situation and commercial.
Right. And so, like you said, so both can exist at the same time. So my question is it that people are just uneducated on universal health care, or what is the issue that
They're
I
worried
think
about
people
what's
are
coming out of their pockets. That's what they're worried about. At the end of the day, it's all about they're worried about what's coming out of their pockets, where people more like us want to see the whole of society benefit. And I know that once the whole of society benefits, that actually is cheaper on our pockets. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
means
that's
it's
what I was
costing
gonna say.
significantly
Isn't it
less.
cheaper?
When
Because
people
like
are
if
out
you
of
have less
poverty, when people can feed themselves, when people can do these things, it costs us each less. But you hear people so selfish that all they do is concerned about these little pennies, and while other people have to suffer. For example, like even with the reparations argument, people like me and Volsi, we wouldn't even be like eligible because we're not Black Americans. We
but
weren't.
I would be.
Yeah, but I don't mind. And I live in a state. I live in New York City. I pay one of the highest tax rates in the country, and I will pay high tax rates if that means that people are less likely to starve. People have better educations. I am down for that because I know in the long run that benefits all of us. That benefits everybody. We'll have less crime, all sorts of things because we're protecting our community. But it's not about
But you
just
know,
me.
But you know what's funny? Even with the reparation arguments, Black Americans, right, us benefiting from reparations, like us as Black Americans have always done. Once we are taken care of and we build and infrastructure is built, that also benefits Black people coming here.
It does. It does, which is why I support it. Because it's like once that infrastructure is built, like I live around when my parents first came to this country. Who were they working and living around? They were working and living around Black Americans. So of course, it would benefit every Black person that's coming into this country. So I gotta ask Tamarian, are you also against reparations?
Yeah.
Like
Of course you are.
it's so crazy to me when I meet a Black American person who's against reparations. How am I for something that's not I'm not even gonna get? I don't explain. Just go. We're gonna try to jump you. Go ahead. Explain.
I just don't believe in handouts.
It's not a handout. It's something that we're rightfully owed. It's not a
It's literally not a
handout.
handout.
When were you a slave?
It has nothing to do with
It has
being
nothing to do. It's
So how
not
are you
just
so
slavery.
how are you
Duh.
owed if you didn't, how are you owed if you never went through
I'm
it?
like Tom. I'm like, cause I'm gonna put you on mute, cause again, it's not just slavery.
Are we not having a conversation? Why I got to be on mute because you disagree?
I'm like, no, cause you're not gonna speak over me. That's why.
I'm sorry.
Recommendation. There's a podcast called 40 Acres and a Lie, and the reason why I recommend it is because it shows modern day descendants both on the white T side as well as the Black side who benefited from what happened or didn't benefit. So it actually shows because people were given the 40 acres and then it was taken back. So it has the descendants of the Black family whose land was taken away from them, and then it has the descendants of the white T family who got to keep that land. And it shows you where they are in modern day, what happened, like how history affected them all the way into now. And it shows you exactly what happened with those families. And those have lasting effects that affect people now, negatively and positively on the white T side, because those people are millionaires.
And let me just
Okay, I'm like, and let me go into that. Right, so it's not just slavery. We're talking about, Jim Crow. We're also talking about the systemic racism that they still benefit from. We're talking about redlining. We're talking about Black people having when you go to when you go to get things like get a loan to start a business or to start or to get a home loan. Black people actually statistically, and this has actually been proven, they actually are more likely to get higher interest simply because they are Black, and they do not think so. This is not just about slavery, and I'm tired of that being like the talking point. It's not just slavery. It's slavery and everything that happened after. Also, Black Americans in this country, when slavery was abolished, were promised 40 acres, promised a mule. And that literally stifled Black American generational wealth. The fact that they were denied what they were originally promised, along with redlining policies that that basically strangle what the word I'm trying to use is like it stifled.
There we go.
It stifled Black Americans economically. There is a reason why Black families and white families in this country, specifically Black American families and white American families, have a wealth gap. And it's not because Black people are lazy. It's not because Black people have not built things. It's it's literally because Black people were literally denied the ability to build generational wealth due to racism. Even when we talk about the history of Tulsa and all these places, when Black Americans would build things, they literally were destroyed by white supremacists. So it is not just slavery that we are talking about. Black Americans are owed. Are owed. That is not a handout. That is awesome. That is justice for things that happen to Black families in this country. And it is wild to me that is just reduced to a handout. That's not a handout. And it's also not just giving, and also me and Volsi have talked about this. I'm not just saying give Black people a check. I'm also talking about, and we're talking about education as well. So in cities that are, in areas that are predominantly Black, those schools tend to have less funding. So putting more funding into public schools in predominantly Black areas. Have we talked about building trade programs for Black children who are, yes, and all of these other things. Also, financial literacy programs for Black children, Black American children, to be able to to become financially literate and to be able to, and so because it's not just gain these resources, we also have to be able to be financially literate enough to maintain these resources for the generations to come. Because if we were to gain reparations and let's say and we are not financially literate, then it defeats the purpose of the former. So it's all of these things put together. It's not just a payment, and it's not just slavery.
Exactly. I just wanted to add something real. Well, not even add because Kay said it all. But Tamarian, you are African American, right? Like that you're you're probably not you, but your grandfather or great grandfather was redlined in this country. That's a thing that happened to your grandfather, great grandfather, correct?
Probably my great grandfather. Yeah, our great grandfather probably.
Right. So that was an injustice that happened to your family. You don't think that should be rectified?
No.
Really?
That is ridiculous.
I don't know what even to say to that, y'all. For real, is this the fucking Twilight Zone? I'm not. My parents are not even from this country, and I think you should get justified for that.
Can I substantiate my argument?
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no.
All right.
I don't got time for this foolishness. Bye.
Well, see, but that's what I'm saying. It's we can't dismiss somebody just because they disagree. Let's have a conversation.
This is not about disagreeing. You literally dismissed the whole concept to begin with. So there's no.
I don't even know what to say.
I would like to try to hear
You're
him
literally a
validate.
Black American as well, literally saying that our people should not be compensated for literal injustices. So I'm not going to have a conversation with you. Bye.
Okay, that's fine. But okay, so this is what I do. So
Yeah, I'm like,
the
you're gone. Bye bye.
study
Hold
might
on, Kay.
might
Let
have
me hear what he actually. Oh crap, he's already gone. He's already gone. Yeah, because I really wanted to actually hear why does he not think that his people deserve to get justice for what
I'm like,
happened
he
to
just
them.
want to be black in the coon.
I
That's
don't
all it
even
is.
how
can't
I'm
blame
bro.
like, because
Kay for
I
dropping.
guarantee you he was going to say that black people are lazy, that black people want a handout. That's literally what he was getting at. That black people need to pick themselves up by the bootstraps. It was going to go into all of the anti-black talking points, and I'm really over it.
Yeah, I
He
feel like I
obviously-
was in the twilight zone. Like, duh, this cannot be the case. But I wouldn't
It
even
would be
benefit
it
from
would be
this.
one thing if he's like just said, after all I said, for him to say no, I'm good.
Well, he sounded exactly like he you can tell that he finds a lot of validation in his proximity to whiteness because he was
It sure
literally
does.
repeating like white supremacist talking points. That's what he was saying.
was, and I
So
heard
to
it, and that's
I,
why
I
I was
don't
on good.
yeah, I don't blame you for dropping him because again, like I mean, a lot of us are black up here, but I'm not Black American, and I did like to hear that, like to even have the audacity to call reparations a handout is wild. Is
He's literally
crazy.
white supremacist. Like I was really over it at that point.
Well,
Like,
I would
have an issue
want to
with that.
know what he thinks about the reparations, if you will, that's been given to other communities. Like for example, the
Yes.
Japanese Americans doing the WW2. They were
And
given
they were
that.
giving it to her right after. Even here, the Jewish community have received reparations, and the Holocaust didn't even happen in America.
Yeah, exactly. That is wild. That is y'all. I usually meet like if I ever met like there are times I actually have met African Americans who were against reparations, but it was like, oh, I think it should happen this way, not with checks. But they weren't against it completely. Like they wouldn't say no. I don't think like what happened to my ancestors shouldn't be like
Yes.
rectified. I've never heard anyone say that.
Justified. It's just like, oh,
Wow.
well, I'm like, I disagree on how reparations should be handled.
Exactly.
Not so much like, oh, we're just going to dismiss the concept completely, because Black Americans are owed reparations. We are. And quite frankly, many parts of the diaspora are, but they need to take that up with the people that colonized them.
Yeah, of
For
course.
for you, I believe for you, Volsi, you would have to talk to the French in order to. I think I'm like people in South and Latin America, they would talk to the Spanish government in
With
order
all the
to.
Caribbean, we got beef with the English, like. But,
No, it's
no.
it's one thing that people.
No, I think when in Jamaica, it would be the English as well.
Jamaica
But
would be
I
the
don't know
UK.
if Jamaica.
Yeah, Jamaica will be the UK. Yeah, a thing I want to show you. I'm gonna let Caddy go because I think he has something to say. But yeah, a thing I
All right.
wanted to show you. I'm gonna try to find it. But like, there are Haitians in like right now in Canada and in France that are actually marching and demanding that the French government return that money that we paid to them back in the 1800s. Like, so it actually is a movement right now with the young Haitians finally, because our parents' generation.
Sister, hey sis.
Hey, what's going on, Shemaine? Hey, Freedom and Lulu Bell.
I'm
I
like
do
my
see ya.
Afro Latina sister, my favorite Mexican. I'm
My
playing
favorite
sis. She's Puerto Rican. I'd be Johnson on her for being like, cause them New York Ricans, they be real pressed about like
Yeah, you know
being
how that
called
go.
Mexican.
Yeah, I know how that go. All right, yeah, I'm gonna bring Lulu Bell up one time, and I really
Caddy had
want to hear.
something to say though, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Caddy
yeah.
did have something to say. Caddy, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think, you can't really be surprised because we're talking about not only colonization and capitalism and how it has affected people in such a way where they believe they have to be such a savage. I got to earn it. I got to have it. I got to be on top. I got to be the head dog. It's, capitalism savage, and it's colonizer capitalism. It's, it's very much a part of this system's indoctrination. So a lot of people have this. And on top of that, there's also the Abrahamic indoctrination that people don't unlearn and they don't get past it. So when they approach these subjects, you're like, oh, I have to earn the fruits of my labor. I gotta be the dog. I gotta be the savage. And this lacking of humanity is because it's a system set in part by a colonizer who wanted to take and was an opportunist. So that system is very much ingrained now in a lot of people. People are born traumatically and all these other psychological things underneath this system. So after generation upon generation, it starts to affect people in various ways. And only the educated, this is why they attack
Jermaine, I
education.
invited you up.
They attack education because education teaches beyond Abrahamic indoctrination, and education also teaches the facts of the matter. And that's why they try to regulate education, because they don't want people to learn the truth of the situation. They don't want people to realize that the capitalistic system is not fair, it's not equal, and it's savage as fuck.
Real quick though, can I just say, can you imagine if we told people who'd like receive generational, like just, you know, generational wealth from the institution of slavery? Can you imagine if the government just up and decided, hey, you're not allowed to inherit any more of that wealth because you didn't earn it?
They would freak out. Do you hear me? And you want to know what the funny thing about reparations and the conversation around reparations is? The government actually did pay the slave owners for the loss of their slaves. They literally did do that.
Yeah. So I mean, if people keep saying that reparations aren't earned, neither is generational wealth from enslaved people. So like maybe we should get rid of inheritance on that. Maybe they should
Slavery
be
was
allowed to
never
inherit.
abolished. Slavery was never abolished if you count the prison system. If you look at the prison system, slavery is approved in the prison system.
But outside of that, Patty, like that, I'm like, and you know what, Issa, I think actually that is a valid argument. Why should if they are so if they claim that racism in America is not a quote unquote problem, then why should you continue to benefit?
Yeah, they keep saying you weren't enslaved, so why should you receive any reparations? Well, you weren't a slave owner and you didn't make that wealth, so why should you be able to inherit that wealth?
Benefit from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Why should, and why should you be? And that's a good question. Why should you be allowed to literally benefit from literally creating systems and holding other people as chattel for 200? If anything, all of that wealth should go to Black Americans. All of it, because quite frankly, it's wealth that was built by Black people, Black Americans.
Everybody pause real quick. Lulu Bell, you are gonna be my last guest because we got to get out of here. Now, you said in the comments that you know how to dismiss the argument in favor of reparations.
Yeah, very easily. And the last person that spoke just spoke on it. The fact of the matter is, Black people created an enormous amount of wealth that didn't get buried in the ground. It's still in the hands of the insurance companies, some railroads, the government, etc. That wealth is still here. It's been multiplied tens of thousands of times, no doubt. And we deserve what that wealth created. Real simple. I don't care if we weren't slaves. Our ancestors created it. It's rightfully ours. End of discussion as far as I'm concerned.
Hey,
Agreed.
W. Lulu.
And if they want to say that racism and anti-Blackness, because you know what, when we talk about racism, they love to act like they're colorblind, right? So if they're colorblind, then your money should also be colorblind.
Exactly. All right, Freedom. How's it going, Freedom? Freedom is a friend of mine, y'all, from Facebook. We've known each other for a few years now. We used to go back and forth with Republicans and conservatives in these like Facebook groups, and it's finally good to talk to you, Freedom. Freedom, you there?
Hey, love. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy you brought your ass up here. Hey, KK. Hey. Oh my goodness, somebody else jumped in on the conversation. So
girl,
I just
you sound so pretty. I just love your energy.
I'm so sick right now, so I really appreciate that. I just want Jerome, you got to watch your live goals a little bit better.
Yeah, I do.
I can't gift you, I can't do jack for you. Do I agree that? Do I think this stuff is deserved? Yes. And I love how somebody said up here that there's a way that maybe we can do an inheritance tax that goes towards that if you are seen as direct connections to anything, be it Jim Crow, be it slavery, be it policing, brutality, any of that, it needs to be some form of inheritance tax that's connected to it. And it can be in the form of just like how Georgetown did. I think you guys have heard what Georgetown did. Georgetown recognized the slaves that helped build it, and then gave their family line has free college for life.
Yeah,
Free college for life.
Yeah.
that
So
is
I'm
dope.
it
like,
doesn't.
that's
They
why I
always
said
go to
it's not
money.
just money. That's why I
It's
said
yeah.
earlier, it's not just money. It's also, I'm like, and me and Avosi have talked about this. Me as a Black American, I think that it should be freedom. I don't know if you're a Black American as well, but I've also said that.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Black. I get that a lot, though. I get that a lot. Don't worry.
Oh no, because like all of us, I'm like everyone up here is almost Black, but all of us aren't Black American. Vosi's Haitian, so that's
Well,
like.
yeah. I get you. Yeah,
So that's why I was curious.
I'm like you.
Okay, so I said like it's not just a money one time, right? I believe it should be educational programs, financial literacy. I think it should be
Yeah,
I'm
I've
like
heard that, and that's how it should be, because it's teaching us to invest in our future. I heard when you were saying,
yeah.
and I was like, perfect. Yes, that's
Yeah,
how it should be.
and
And
I
then
would,
they
I would
just
like
give
to.
grants.
because we just got money one time and like we don't have like programs to help with financial literacy to teach our youth how to invest that money that they would be inheriting in the land that they're inheriting, then it means nothing because it's going to go to waste in the next generation. It will
Yeah,
go.
exactly, and I would also add that if we change our education system to add like how I said, like every red line school gets refunded, and every student graduates with a trade. If their parents have that reparations money, and their son or their daughter graduates like as like a electrician or something like that, they can invest that money into their son or daughter to give them
Yeah.
those that business, and boom, their entire generational line comes up, just like how white families did for their sons and daughters. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these huge HVAC and plumbing companies, they got that seed money from their parents. You know what I mean? It's just that for Black Americans, that seed money was never there was no seed. You know what I'm saying? Just like I said, there was no seed. So if the Black Americans are given that seed money, and their students and their children graduate with those type of skills in their hands, the entire like in one generation, because like Black Americans are basically some of if not the most talented people on this planet. In one generation, you'll see that wealth come up. In one generation.
Also, I would like to add this. Like, I think like how it should be determined is similar how how the Native Americans have like certain things for their community because of the things that have happened to them, like and how they are able to and how they determine like like tribal
lineage
connection. Tribal. I think it's similarly, but in this case, it wouldn't be tribal. It would be that you like to prove that you are of the Black American lineage. So if you can trace your ancestry pre 1870, let's say your Black lineage pre 1870 in like let's say the United States, then you would be eligible.
Yeah, and I think that's like very very easy to do. Like my dad still has his citizenship papers. So boom, right there. You know what I mean? It's really really easy to do.
And I
You know
say
what I mean?
1870 because, like, let's keep in mind, like, many Black Americans, they weren't named on the census until after slavery was abolished. So I
Exactly.
think
True.
so if it was and also like in Texas, for example, their slavery didn't end until 2 years after the initial Emancipation Proclamation, which is why we have Juneteenth, right? So so I think 1870 would be the perfect starting point. So your lineage, so if you're a descendant of American freedmen and and enslaved people, your lineage goes back to 1870, on the United States Census, and you can track that, then you are eligible.
Exactly.
It's funny. My daughter is eligible. She would be eligible if that were a thing. Like,
Awesome.
genetics are funny that way because, like, her father is a Black American, so she
Should be
And she
eligible
should
to
be
walk away.
eligible if she has foundational Black American heritage. So
Yeah. That's just my daughter is half Korean. It doesn't matter that half that your daughter wouldn't exist without her daddy. My daughter wouldn't exist without me.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
You
y'all.
can't
Yeah,
cut them in half.
I do appreciate everybody, y'all, but I've been here for 4 hours. I was supposed to be rubbing my wife's feet 2 hours ago. She's not happy with me doing a 4-hour stream tonight. But I am gonna get out of here. All right, y'all. Please come back Thursday.
give her lots of love and lots of affection and lots of rubbing.
I will. Hey, Duke of Angus, come back on Thursday. I do these every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So Duke of Angus, come back Thursday. You have the Trump hat on. So I do know that you're gonna go ahead and argue me down, but come on with it. Bring that smoke. That's the name of the show. So I appreciate y'all. Freedom is finally good to talk. It's good to talk to you again, or finally good to talk to you one more time.
Stay connected on here because I do lives too. I'm sorry.
I said definitely follow me, sis.
Okay, I do lives too. Mine are limited because of the baby. But
Oh, yeah, you got the
definitely,
baby.
definitely.
How old is the baby?
She's 2.
Oh,
She's
the
2.
careful cues are a thing, girl.
Yeah.
I got
So
nieces and
I can
nephews.
only do it when she's asleep or
Hey,
if
J-Lo.
daddy's home. But I go live too. If you need anything, Jerome, I'm gonna start pulling people in here.
Mhm.
I've got a decent following. I'll start pulling them in here, and we gotta share the live for you more.
Oh
So you
yeah,
can get
yeah,
our
definitely.
FYP.
Definitely, and I gotta start paying attention to the gift goal because I'm on TikTok Studio, so the gift goal kind of disappears sometimes. But I'll be paying attention to it. I appreciate y'all.
Is there
Why
any
didn't
way
you
we
tell me there
mods
was a
can we
gift
mods
goal?
control that?
I would have forced it if you would have told me there was a gift goal, Vosi. You
Yeah,
don't be telling
I
me
would
things.
too.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
You
Ace.
gotta communicate with the mods, Vosi, so we can
Yeah,
do it.
right. Yeah, right. I'm gonna be better at that. I'm gonna be better at that. All right, so Brittany, please come back on Thursday. I gotta get out of here, y'all. I'm tired. I'm starving. I gotta get out of here, y'all. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays is when I do these. Y'all consider joining the cult of Volsi. All right, it's only $2.99 a month. Become part of the congregation. You get to see my handsome face every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I appreciate you all. Nurse, I appreciate you being up here. I'll bring this back on. We're gonna run this topic again on Thursday. This is politics week. Next week is gonna be religion week. All right, but I appreciate y'all. I love you all, and y'all have a good night. All right.
Good night.
Good night.
See you later.
All right. All right, babe, I'm coming.